You know something, as much as I might not like Mega Man X6, I can't deny that it's got a pretty banger soundtrack. That's what we're listening to right now. Commander Yamark's stage. Hello everyone, how's it going? Sorry for missing yesterday. I was sort of preoccupied with Father's Day, spending time with my old man, and I don't know, I guess it just wasn't up to streaming. Some days you're just not feeling it, you know? Depends on how it's difficult. Oh, the question of the day. Yeah, that came to mind earlier today because someone asked me if I like difficult games. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it really depends on what it is. I like Souls games. I like Elden Ring. We played Elden Ring crowd control a few times on this channel. I had fun with that. Difficulty, I think, is relative for everyone, because, like, one person's idea of difficult is some other person's idea that's like a walk in the park for them, you know? Like, I'm not very good at, like, real-time strategy or anything. That's why I kind of, like, brute force some stages when I'm playing Unicorn Overlord, you know? But, I don't know. I have some tolerance for difficulty. I think it goes down as I get older. I'm getting pretty old. I just had a birthday. A pretty big one. The less time I have for games, and I don't have as much time for games as I used to, the less tolerant I am of difficulty, so that's kind of where I'm at right now. Oh, I forgot to turn on V-Bridger. Whoops. Let me move myself, I feel like I'm a little off here. Hold on. I think my models are positioned a little differently. Oh, we're doing Final Fantasy today, by the way, for people who haven't heard. We're doing Final Fantasy FF5FJF2025. I gotta work on that. Also, because I couldn't think of anything else to do today, we have kind of a short week this week and next week. I'm only streaming for 2 days, so you will not be seeing very much of me until July, so that's just kind of how it is right now. Okay, we're capturing and we're good. We left off at Galuf's castle and we're gonna pick up from there. I did a bit of grinding. I grinded some ABP. I made Yoko into another black mage because technically I'm not allowed to have anything else besides these three. So this is what we're doing. And we are gonna get out of here now. They warn us that once we go out, we will have a hard time getting back in, but it's fine. It's really not that bad. Nothing coming up is really going to be threatening to a group like ours until we get to, I'd say, like, the crystals, but the only bad part is with this party, we're going to have to do some grinding. We're gonna have to grind for both reflect rings and flame rings, and that's not gonna be very fun, but it is what it is. We're just gonna have to deal with it. Okay, here we go. Abductor. We fought one of these before. Hurricane, HP to single digit. Not even an issue. We can do the same to him. See? Oh, that sucks, though. I'm gonna make me use one of my healing items. You know what? We have a lot of tents. Why don't we just use one? From this point forward, I think we're gonna be relying more on cottages than tents. Because cottages will heal us to full, and tents will not. Alright, here we go. These cursed beings, I believe, are undead, which should make them especially susceptible to fire. They're kicking the crap out of us here. We have Fyra. So we'll use that. Level 2 fire spells are not that great. Once we get to level 3, they'll be much better, I think. Our damage output is not what it could be, unfortunately. I think I did bring some rods from World 1, though. Leaf Swirl, yeah, that's not doing very much, is it? I think that's the part I'm most concerned about. My damage output is not very good right now. It could also be the terrain, like this forest terrain does not really favor Geomancers very well. At least Swirl's not hitting very hard. But if they do like a single target fire, that does slightly more. Bears gained a level. We're gonna have to be a bit careful because we don't have very good healing options at all, aside from like high potions. But we're just gonna go straight up here. Now this terrain, the swamp terrain, this is much more favorable to a Geomancer because you can do stuff like suck the enemies into the ground, but it's not really working very well right now. Now these enemies, the reptile type enemies, those are weak to blizzards. We're gonna stick with that. There we go. I'm hoping, like, with the 5th job and everything, that we can change Galuf from Geomancer to something that outputs more damage or, you know, heals more, has, like, better utility. Just anything besides Geomancer would be fine. The gates to Drakkenvale is north of town, easy to find. The question is, will it be open? Now, I'm gonna go over a little trick. Oh, we can't do this yet because all the things are locked. We have to do a little story first. Once we try to leave, we get caught by the ninja werewolves. And this is their leader, Kelger. He's got some cool horns on his head. He and Galuf are old friends. I'm kind of giving, like, the Cliff's Notes version, because we've done this so many times. He thinks we're friends with X-Death. And so, he pushes Galuf out of the way and challenges Bartz to a fight. And they have, like, a Naruto kind of fight. It's kind of funny. He tells the ladies, stand aside, I've got this. Let's see how you handle my lupine attack. And he basically just spins around like he's some kind of washing machine. I don't know. Bartz closes his eyes and he sees through the attack. And he hits Kelger so hard that he bounces into the next room. Whoops. I guess we don't know our own strength, do we? So Galuf's world mostly consists of meeting Galuf's old comrades.
Does Samuel L. Jackson like anime?
Yes, I do. Hentai too.
Oh, I thought it would say something with the chair spinning emotes. Well, thank you for the 2 months, Ortania. Welcome on in. How are you today? Bartz gets recognized as Dorgan's son, and we go on to like a flashback about how the Dawn Warrior sealed up X-Death. Dad, yeah, he finds out that his father is from Galuf's world. I had a pretty good day today, except for one thing. I'm not sure why, but they were blasting the air conditioner at the office today, and I was freezing. I had like 2 layers on, my t-shirt and my, I had like a long sleeve shirt on, and I was still like really cold, like I was sneezing and everything. I don't know what happened. They must have turned it on too cold. By the time I got home, I felt like I had caught a cold a bit, because I'd been sneezing so much today. Yeah, I don't know, I'm feeling a little bleh, but I think I'll be alright. But listen, like, I'm a hybrid worker. Worst case scenario, I just, you know, call my boss in the morning and say, hey, today I'll be working, I'll be working from my home office, and she'll be alright with that. What I do isn't terribly strenuous anyway. I basically background check doctors and nurses to make sure that they worked where they say they did, they went to school where they say they did, and so on and so forth. And then I get them enrolled with all the insurers and stuff like that. It's a very, very involved process, you know? But I like it. I think it's pretty fulfilling. The worst thing about being a hybrid is like the 1 day, the 1 to 3 days where you have to commute and fighting like city traffic, like especially in the afternoon, it gets so bad. People try to pull all kinds of stunts getting out of the city and onto the highway. People cut each other off, and it becomes like a game of chicken, like who's gonna step on the gas first, me or this guy, you know? It can be kind of dangerous. In back when I was like learning to drive at a professional driving school, they really emphasized like defensive driving, and like in my mind it sounds like self-defense, you know, like martial arts, but with a car. I mean, it's not that different of a concept. It's just, you know, you're inside a vehicle. And I'm not really in the mood for vehicular combat, aside from like a video game version, you know? Oh, hello. Will you please bring me a frog? Come on, bring one. I gotta have one. I think what we need to do here is turn someone into a frog. So if I turn Yoko into a frog, if I cast Toad on myself, something will happen. Here you go. I'm a frog now. Oh, is that not what I need? I turned myself into a frog. I thought that's what he wanted. I don't think there are many advantages to turning yourself into a frog. It's just something I can do. Do I know this one? Do I know these? Do I know these spells? I think I do. Alright, Haxton probably knows this trick, because he's played this about as much as I have. But I'm gonna show it anyway. It's not in here, by the way. It's in the other... Oh, bio. Do we want a bio rod? I think I want some shurikens. I think I want some flame scrolls. I definitely want some shurikens. I want some shurikens because I feel like I'm gonna need them for an upcoming fight, we'll say. Does the Kodachi do anything for him? I mean, no, sorry, for Ferris. I'm misgendering Ferris, I'm sorry. Gives more attack, so, yeah, why not? There's also the Orichalcum Dirk. We can't use any of these other things. Wizard's Hat. Ninja Suit. Gaia Gear. Ooh, I'm gonna buy a Gaia Gear for Galuf, actually. I think that enhances his Earth-based stuff. So, like, he's a Geomancer. I think that'll help him out. Possibly. I don't know. I don't remember. Twist Headband, Power Sash. I don't know. Answer, it depends on how much alcohol I feel like poisoning yourself with that day. You know I wouldn't encourage anything like that, right? Also, hello, Riley. How are you today? That lowers my agility. I'm not sure I want that. Power Sash. Oh. Seems like a toss-up to me. Oh well. I can always get more money. Alright, here's the trick. You don't have to stay at the inn here, you can do this. I did not stream on my birthday. I was gonna stream yesterday, but it was Father's Day and I didn't really feel like it. Happy getting older. Look, I don't look at it as getting older, even though that's the case. I look at it as leveling up, and I've unlocked new magic spells and abilities, and so my power only grows stronger. I'm gonna buy 5 more of these. Right, I can only get stronger from here. Holy water, I don't think I need that. I'm not sure I need ether that much either. Probably not. Another year close to the pension? Wait, that's if you have a government job, right? I don't have one of those. I have a 403B now. Actually, I don't think I had that yet. I have it in a few days. I think it kicks in because it's like a 30-day delay. I had a 401k. I'm gonna probably roll it over to a 403B. Hello, Tigressa. Welcome back. How are you today? Welcome on in, everyone. What are we fighting? Where snakes? Where snake? There snake. Entangle. You. You're doing alright? That's good. I'm gonna freeze up these snakes. Leaf swirl. Does that count as earth magic? I'm not really sure. Yoko is stunned. They can't do anything. Unfortunate. Alright, let's do the Drakenvale Mountain. Question mark? Wouldn't it be amazing if we got Summoner as our 5th job? 5,000 gil just like that. I would actually be very happy if I got Summoner. But then, I don't know if I've locked myself out of summons because I didn't take any optional ones. Yeah, I did. That was like a, you know, just in case kind of thing, you know? I hope I get a good 5th job. Because I'm not a big fan of Geomancer. I'm really not. I'm getting my butt kicked here. Let's do Thyra. I really need my like level 3 magic here. Ignis Vatus. I'm not sure what that did, if anything. Ow. This guy hits kind of hard, I'm not gonna lie. Come on. Please die. Ooh, tent. The Dragon Fang will sell for a good amount, too. Tent and a cottage. Oh, man, we need a heal here. I gotta hang in there. This place is kind of rough and I don't have a teleport. We're just gonna go through this quickly, I think. We're not gonna, like, stick around too much. Alright, so one of these bone piles has a... bone mail. I think it might be this one. Or this one. Yeah, there it is. It's not immediately obvious, but... there it is. Oh, yeah, there's a hidden floor here. It took me a little while to figure that out. More free money. I'll tell you right now, one thing we're gonna need is a lot of money. No joke. Between the, buying the spells, the equipment, especially like the flame rings, it's gonna be a lot of money. Adventuring ain't cheap, guys. Maybe I should have Galuf cast black spells too. Just to make this thing die faster. I don't know. See how it turns out. I'd say overall, ooh, these things are worth fighting for the experience, because we are a bit under-leveled right now. I was thinking to myself, oh, I can just level off the statue guys in Galuf's Castle, but they give, like, more ADP than XP, you know? Alright, another Dragon Fang. So the Dragon Fangs, I think they sell for, like, what is it, like, 2,500 each? And that adds up pretty quickly. I think this is the one I wanted, right? It does add up pretty quickly. I think it's also a guaranteed drop, I'm pretty sure. So we're gonna need all that. Oh yeah, that one did good damage. Okay, he can just stay very still like that and not attack me, that's fine. Chemist would also be a great choice. I don't have any kind of healing right now. I would absolutely take that. Then I gain a level. There's another Dragon Fang. Oh no, I want the treasure! Aw, shit. Whoa, preemptive strike. These guys can hit fairly hard too. I want to take them out one at a time, I think. I don't think they have as much HP, but I want to be careful here. Yeah, I don't want to split my damage in here too much. By the way, Hexen, I'm not sure I ever asked you, what did you end up getting for your jobs in your Fiesta? You might have told me and I think I forgot. Okay, that's good. The, Confused doesn't turn them around. I mean, the spells don't turn them back towards me, I'm trying to say. Did you end up getting, ooh, Samurai? White Mage, Samurai, Ninja, Bard, Dragoon. Oh, what did you end up, replacing for Dragoon? Probably, yeah, Bard. That's what I would guess. Bard has its uses, don't get me wrong. I have won a Fiesta with a Bard. Oh no, that's bad. Ugh. We need to find ourselves a, save point soon. Yoko gain a level. Actually, I can use another high potion. I've got plenty. 19 is plenty. It's just that, like, these guys hit kind of hard, you know? Wind Slash, Hypno Crown. Wind Slash is what again? Is that something I can use? With my ninja? Wait, what is the Wind Slash again? What kind of thing is it? I think I might be able to do Fork Tower, and I have to do it anyway for, Mimic. I mean, yeah, MIM, Mimic. It's for Samurai. Oh. Here I was thinking it was a ninja weapon. I guess I was wrong. Preemptive Strike. Love seeing that. I don't think these guys drop the dragon things, do they? I don't think they do. Has a bit of a drawback? Oh, what? Yo, that L cape doing work. Galuf gained a level. Alright, we're gaining levels. That's good. Man, the encounter rate in here is crazy. I don't remember it being this bad. Is it really just this room? Like, what's going on here? Clean 1,000 damage there. My samurai got confused while wielding the wind slash and it proc the wind slash technique killed your whole party. Oh man. The wind slash technique, is that just like something that hits everything? I might want to start running. Ouch. Oh, it hits all enemies. Wow. Oh, that's rough. Okay, the confuse does not work on the big dragon. But that's fine. I need to level up and get more HP anyway. Oh man. This might be my last one, my last fight, because like, I'm dying in here. The party can't take much more punishment. Oh wait, is there... Oh man. Well, if it's a preemptive strike, then it's fine. Because then I can just hit them and they, you know, then they'll go away. I guess that's the good thing about having a ninja, is, you know, greater speed. Why don't you hit the other one, man? Bone. Oh. I think bone is, what, HP to single digit? Looks like it missed, though. Phoenix down. Where's my save point? There it is. There it is. Okay. Let's use a cottage here. Do you want to put a cottage in a cave like that? Doesn't look very cozy. Okay, we gained a couple levels there, so that's fine. Now then, let's go to the right here. Wonder if we'll run into the golem again. Oh, looks like we didn't. Help! The dragon grass is alive? What the crap was that? Oh man, here we go. Let's throw a, flame scroll. It's weird that they have you target, because it hits everything, you know? Oh, wait, what? Oh, that's not good. Bio? That did somewhat better, yeah. Gus did 0. I think maybe I should just break rods on this guy. Yeah, we got a flame rod. Why not use it? Yeesh, that was kind of unimpressive there. I think I'm just gonna stick with Bio. Bio seems to do the job. 16? Man, what are you even doing? What are you even doing, man? Ugh. Alright, I guess we'll burn another one. That was, not all that impressive, I gotta say. I don't know, I seem to remember the rod breaking doing a lot more damage. Come on, man, do something besides Gust. Ugh. Alright, let's break another one. I don't think it's the element that's the issue either. Well, earthquake. Okay, that's more like it. There we go. How much HP does this thing have anyway? Maybe I should have brought a poison rod instead. I don't know. There we go. 10 EVP, Yoko gained a job level. Ooh, an elixir. That'll come in handy. I'm hoping that I don't have to burn my elixirs on the crystal fight, because I'm worried about that one. Let's see, I was debating about, like, whether I want to use another cottage. Maybe I do, because I burned a lot of NP there, on Bart's particularly. Oh, okay, this is the one where we have to rescue Golem. Wait, what? Okay, we just have to kill them before they kill the Golem. Shouldn't be too hard, right? Oh no, you leave him alone. Ferris, why are you doing, like, no damage? What the hell? Oh, that didn't work. Why is this not working? Alright, you know what? This is taking too long. No! Oh, fuck. I gotta kill this guy. No! Why'd you hit that one? God, it's a good thing this dragon is really slow. Come on, kill him. Okay, he's still alive, he's still alive. Please kill the dragon. Oh, it's not working, I gotta kill him! There, okay, now just don't do anything. Thanks a ton! It'd rock if I could roll along with you. They should really have some, like, rock music playing when he said that. I know, I was so scared the Golem was gonna die. We made it, guys! Now, unfortunately, I do not have a quick way out of here. So I think we're just gonna fight our way out. Oh, really? So if you screw up, you can do it over again? That is good, though. Oh, there's the HP to 1. It's nice that they did that. Bone. Can you bone yourself? Okay, well... Yep, that'll work. Stalactite does not count as a physical attack. That's interesting. At least it doesn't seem to. Ooh, get some more ether. Why not? Need to use another high potion here. There we go. I did not want Lena getting one shot there. Now, let me see. Oh, it's just a cat. A singular cat? We're not worried about that. There's a chance I may have to come back here to get the Poison Eagle to cast Float on me with the Dancing Dagger, but that's not going to be for a while. I'm not going to worry about it. Yeah, we'll just focus on the here and now. How's my money looking? It's okay, I guess. Bam. Because I'm gonna have a hard time dealing with the crystals. The only thing I can do really is do like a flame rings to deal with the top one, and the bottom one, you really want to have your party floating so that you don't get hit with the earth stuff. That just leaves the other two. I don't know how we're gonna deal with that. Just kind of hoping for the best single target, that kind of thing. Bring lots of shurikens, I guess. At least we'll have the shurikens. Alright, that killed him. So this bridge right here is where the guide recommends that you farm the Poison Eagles for float if you're not able to deal with the crystals any other way. So we might be back here for that. Tail. Oh no, you paralyzed me. You son of a bitch. Hate when they do that. Yeah, it's kind of rough going right now because my party feels sort of weak without the level 3 black magic. But it'll get better. Okay, do I get out? Wait. Oh, preemptive strike. You know what? Well, hell with it. Let's just do this. I'm gonna throw a lightning scroll. Get a holy water. We haven't had to worry about zombie, like, at all, though, which is strange. I'm gonna do a flame scroll for this one. Well, that did much better. Wow. We'll absolutely get another Dragon Fang out of this one. So that'll be good. Critical attack. Oh man. At least they warn you when it happens. Galuf gained a level. Alright. We are getting stronger. Oh no, I got poisoned! Shit. Oh, that's funny. I haven't had to use a single antidote all game. And now I just did. Alright, let's blow another one of these. Should have seen your crystal fight. It was so sad. Really? Was it a big struggle? I'm dreading mine. I'm not looking forward to it at all. What ended up happening? Guild toss win. Oh. So it's basically a massacre through capitalism, huh? Hey, you know something? If I had Samurai, I would do the same thing. Because sometimes you just don't want to deal with it. I don't blame you at all for going that route. Okay, before I leave here... do I want anything like last minute? Not from here, but maybe on this side. I think I want more shurikens. Maybe a few more of these too. I'm saving all the shurikens for the goddamn crystals, because I don't like them. Also probably for X-Death too. My shurikens are for you. I am a ninja assassin. You guys like ninjas, right? I don't know what's good against these things. One day soon I want to run back Shinobi 3 and actually beat it. Hopefully soon I can do that. Because I got till the last stage, but then I like ran out of continues. I was too tired to continue. Oh, that's the good one. That's the one we want. Hero cocktail. Alright. So now we'll go return the dragon grass to the dragon. I'm okay, Mike. I might sound a little bit hoarse tonight. Not like Mr. Ed or anything, but I feel like my voice is kind of strained tonight. I'm not sure why. Probably need to drink more water. But other than that, I'm doing okay. How are you? Did you have a good day today? We gotta flush ourselves in the castle again. Just imagine like a toilet noise or something. There we go. That's not the way to go. It's this way? No, that's also wrong. Yeah, I went back to work today. I had a great morning commute. The afternoon commute was pretty terrible, though. People trying to cut each other off, getting out of Boston, and I just barely made it out alive. No, it wasn't that drastic, but yeah, you just have to be really careful when you driving around the city, because people will try to pull all kinds of things. Oh yeah, so we gotta try and see Sage Guido to get advice on how to stop X-Death. Having the Drake will open up some travel options, so that'll be good. There's still places we won't be able to go, though. Cootie's now part of my community. Yeah, I haven't actually formally met her, but I follow her on Blue Sky. She seems really sweet, and she's got a cute VTuber model. Shoutouts to Cutesy, by the way. She seems very focused on RPGs, which is, you know, I mean, naturally it's something I enjoy. I was surprised to see how many people make RPGs their main content on Blue Sky. I feel like I'm in very good company. You know, some people, like, might feel discouraged about streaming RPGs because they feel like, oh, no one's gonna watch me do, like, a, you know, 11 billion part story game or whatever. But I feel like talking about a story and getting to know the characters is a great way to converse with people. I take the opposite stance, you know? And, like, as hard as it might be to believe, there are plenty of people out there who've gotten partnered playing RPGs as their content, so, you know, don't deprive yourself of a good time just because you doubt yourself. You just gotta, you know, find the right fit for you, I guess. I really need to get some water. If you're a streamer, like, it's so easy to get trapped in a vortex of self-doubt, and it makes you not want to, like, experiment and try new things, or even do, like, your regular stuff. But every now and then I feel like it's important to kind of do something a little bit out of your comfort zone, you know? And I basically want to introduce people to, like, other RPG series. Like, Final Fantasy's the big one, but there's, like, so many other RPGs I enjoy that not a lot of people have played, and I'd like to kind of share it around. I wouldn't be where I am today if it weren't for RPGs, honestly. Being a teenager playing Final Fantasy VII, and that's, like, where it all started for me. There were many other such people like me, and that game started for them too. That one day at school where, you know, we rolled out a bunch of, like, TVs from the AV room and people brought in, like, their consoles and everything. There was a kid that brought in a Super Nintendo with Earthbound. I probably would have never gotten to know Earthbound if it wasn't for that day, you know? So I'm glad I had that experience. Anyway, now we have the awesome dragon flying music. As far as this game goes, like, this isn't the version that I played when I was younger. I played the fan translation of the ZSNES version. Or on ZSNES, I should say. So there weren't as many, like, pop culture references or anything in the localization, but it sounded really good. Ha ha ha! Witness what befalls those who stand against me. I am very evil. Well, we're not gonna see Sage Guido. That's just not happening. Luckily, our dragon can fly. So, that didn't really do anything to stop us. Okay, now I think is the barrier tower part, right? Because there isn't many places we can... I mean, there are places we can go, it just doesn't matter if we go to them. I was thinking to myself, do I want to stock up on more Phoenix Downs? Maybe I do. Wait, did I... Wait, where is it? Where are the boats? Oh, here they are. Just looking for the fleet. You know what? We should be fine, I think. I think we should be fine. That Windrake. Hold your fire, they're friends. If it isn't Galuf, aren't you a sight for sore eyes? Zezat, how the devil have you been? Managing barely these friends of yours? This is Dorgan's son, Yoko. Dorgan's. The ladies are nobility from the other world. Well met, I'm the swordsman Zezat. Oh, not King Zezat? Don't think it suits me all that well. Sure doesn't. Ha ha ha, I'm the same way. And they share a laugh. So, can you get us into Excess Castle? Ha, you're halfway in already. For now, go below deck and rest a bit. The fireworks will start soon enough. Okie dokie. Yeah, we're gonna have to farm reflect rings. Yay, fun. I don't have a choice. I've gotta do it. Also, hello, bruh. I need the money anyway. We're gonna be very poor soon. But it's okay, it'll work out. Yeah, let's rest up a bit. We have to. There's also a very nasty dragon in a chest, and the gold hairpin I'm gonna want to put on one of my black mages for sure. I know I'm 2 days late, but happy birthday. Thank you. I was gonna have a birthday stream yesterday, but then I decided against it, so I guess you can consider today the birthday stream, if that makes you feel any better. This will be the birthday stream. Says that, what's going on? X-Def, somehow he's gotten the jump on us, blah 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 blah. And says that soldiers are not faring too well here. Roar! Alright, so there are like dudes in the way, but the only one we really care about is Gilgamesh. Preemptive strike! Yeah, I don't know. I just felt like I had no energy at all yesterday, and that wasn't good. Ooh, 1,000 gil. Hey, maybe we should fight more of these guys. I kind of need the money. No sleep. No sleep till Brooklyn! No, I'm sorry, that sucks. Were you, just not feeling well? Tsunami? That's where I watch my anime. Yeah, 1,000 gil each is actually not bad. Oh, you couldn't get tired? I'm sorry. Tsunami is not doing that much damage. Whoop. Oh, I forgot you had nothing equipped. Let's put something on you. Mage Master. Oh wait, you have the Dancing Dagger? When did you get that? Also, why do you not have any armor on? What the heck? Hypno Crown. Sure, I don't know. Hypno Crown. Thought I had something else for him, but whatever. Alright, let's go, Gilgamesh. Bio should work pretty well on him. Whirlpool does not. I know, it was like... It was the only piece of equipment I had. Let's keep going with Bio. Yeah, Whirlpool's doing nothing. I guess I could always just drain him too if I really wanted to. Oh, this asshole. As leisurely as ever, faithful sidekick. The old man gave me some trouble. Oh, let's return the trouble and make it double. Come on. White wind. Oh no. We don't need you doing that. I'm gonna kill you. Big wave. Oh, hello, that's a good one. Why don't you do that one more?
A test of your reflexes!
Yeah, I don't have a way to steal, unfortunately. No thief knife or anything. Let's stick with Bio here. Actually, Drain might be good. Yeah? How you doing, Ubu? I'm doing another 4-job fiesta. How's your day going? Yeah, Drain is legit. It actually works in this game. Ha, you missed. I forget if... Is Osmos in this game too? I think it is. 4 quests left. Yeah, let's go! I think I'll be back to Final Fantasy XIV pretty soon myself. There's new content I haven't done yet. Ouch. That really hurt. Tsunami. Enkidu, faithful sidekick. I trust you can take care of the rest. Faithful sidekick, Enkidu. Hey, sidekicks are not to ditch the hero. Why does he think he's the hero? In farming Lakshmi? Oh, neat. What are you going for? Oh, a mount, I guess? Goodbye, Gilgamesh. What mount does Lakshmi drop anyway? Oh, I liked it. I like the music. And Lakshmi is a pretty lady. Kamui. Oh, a Kamui. Ah, right, right. Now I remember. Oh boy, it's time for Reflect Ring farming. My favorite. Oh, I gotta go back down here. Alright. It is about 8 p.m. So I think we need to take a break. Let's take a break. I'll see you guys in 3. I'm gonna refill my water. Be right back. Okay, I am back and properly hydrated for the most part. I'm like a flower. I wither if I don't have enough water. Alright, let me put the sound back on. Okay, we are on Zazat's flagship, and we're going into the barrier tower, and we're farming for reflect rings, because I don't have a choice. It sucks, but we gotta do it. Luckily, the barrier tower itself is not too bad. Big Sig, my man, how are you, man? Happy to see you. Oh, are we already healed? I guess we are. Playing that Legend of Dragoon. Let me get a shout out for Big Sig if we can. How are you today, my man? We're off. Off to adventure. Just got home from work a bit ago. I'm fine. My throat's a little froggy today, but other than that, I'm okay. So, just to let you guys know, I'm going on a trip this week, on Thursday. I'm going to San Jose for Offkai Expo. That's the VTuber Expo. Virtual Entertainer Expo for people like myself, or fans of people like myself who use virtual avatars. There's a lot of us out there. And I'm going to be meeting with Project Oran, who visits us a lot, and we're going to be hanging out with her and her friends and having a time. So that'll be my weekend. And then the week after that, I'm going to Too Many Games in Pennsylvania. Hoping to meet up with Jakato there and maybe run into Charles Martinet, voice of Mario, get something Mario signed. And that'll be my vacation arc. So that ought to be fun. You won't be seeing too much of me on Twitch. I will try to pop in on channels whenever I can if the Wi-Fi allows and say hello to people, but as far as me streaming, I am not going to be too active. So, it's just going to be today and tomorrow, and that's it for this week. I'm not going to be streaming on Wednesday because I got to pack up. I got to get up like first thing in the morning to go on my flight. But it should be good. Should be a good time. Yeah, I know. I've worked too hard, and I've been looking forward to a vacation for a while. But, one other thing I wanted to say was, like, when I come back in July, August, I want to do some collabs. I want to do collabs. I want to stream together with other people. Because I've been a solo act for far too long, and if other people have things that they're doing, like projects or whatever, that they feel like I would be a good fit for, then absolutely hit me up. Because I want to partner with other people and stream with them. Okay, this might suck. Or it might not. Let's see. The Red Dragon, as I recall, has a lot of HP. Maybe we can put him to sleep. I don't even know if that worked or not. Can we totem? Nope. That does not work. Oh, he hurts a lot. What about Bio? Does that work on him? Works pretty well. Can you break him? Nope. You cannot break the dragon. Ouch. It really hurts. I forget, is the dragon undead or not? I know, I think I tried to drain it once and then I killed myself. I'm pretty sure this is an undead creature. Ow. Uh-oh, that's not looking good. Wait, what did I just do? I rang him to death? The blood sword. Wait, that's not what I wanted. That's not what I wanted. I don't want a blood sword. Whoops. Bloodsword doesn't do me any good. I'm not allowed to have a sword user right now. Sonic Boom doesn't do shit. Give me your life. That is the one thing I do have, I guess, that I can drain enemies. Like I'm some kind of vampire. No! You bitch. Alright, I'm out. I'm out. Galuf down. Gotta take him to the emergency sub. Free heal. Why waste cottages when we have a submarine? I can't imagine it's too cozy in there though. You guys ever been on a submarine? Like one of those like submarine museums, like, you know, like a tour kind of thing. Martyr with the raid. Oh yeah, supporting us in a crusade against X-Death. Oh yeah. How you doing, Martyr? I was lurking earlier. I was watching you play Elden Ring with 4-button. Good stuff. Thank you for doing the shout-out, Haxon. How did your adventures go today? Hello, Razromps. Good to see you as well. Oh, wait a minute. Are you blinded? You're blinded. That's not good. Oh no! I don't have a way to cure that! Oh, crap. Wait, I know what'll cure it. If I use the 10 will cure it. I did not bring any eye drops. Ooh, that could be bad. That could be bad. LASIK. Yeah, my one melee user not being able to hit things would be bad. Should just run away from these things. Our real quarry is outside. Marta, when are we gonna see you run a 4-job Fiesta? Gotta see you run Final Fantasy V. This game is awesome. No! Oh god, stop giving these to me. I don't like them. One day. I will say, I don't suggest running this as your first run. It would be much better to actually get to know the ins and outs of FF5 before even attempting one. Just as a suggestion. Bong. Anyway, this is something I run every year. It's a challenge run where you are only allowed to use 4 classes in the game for the entire game. Although I'm running with a 5th job, and if we get to it tonight, I'll explain why that is. But if you go to like 4jobfiesta.com, you can see a rule set, a name, like a player list and everything. It's a lot of fun, and some people run it for charity. I think this year's charity is the Palestine Children's Relief Fund, so if that's a cause that you back, we'll absolutely donate or get into it and raise some money. And yeah, that's my whole spiel on that. Whether or not you do the charity part, I always feel like it's a fun time. I never get tired of this game. In fact, I appreciate it like more every year when I run this. Absolutely. I still wouldn't say this is my favorite Final Fantasy, but it's a pretty good one. Alright. We got a little beat up there, but I'm not too concerned about it. We're not getting the enemies I need. I need like barrier warriors and stuff. Reflect Knights, whatever you call them. I'm just gonna hit him with bio, I think. Thanks, Martyr. I'll do my best. Can I drain you? I sure can. Hey, free Gaia gear. Alright. Yeah, you know, I mean, that's like a straight upgrade. Why not? Why not? 18,000 gil. Here's the Reflect Knight. Okay, this is what we want. Now, this guy has auto reflect, so we definitely do not want to use any spells on him. Gonna have to do like single target things here. Wind Slash is not a spell, so that'll work okay. Do I need to drain this guy? I think the only problem is actually managing to kill this guy. Wait a minute, Drain can't be reflected, right? I don't think it can. Could be wrong about that, though. What if I'm wrong and I kill myself a bit? Then I gain a level. No Reflect Ring, damn it. No Reflect Ring. And we're gonna need 4 of them, too. I think the problem I'm having now is, like, I really don't do much damage to anything now. It's only after this point that you get, like, better spells, you know? Bio isn't bad, though. It's not a bad stopgap, I don't think. I'm sorry, madam, you missed. Do we like blue witches with red hair in this house? Do we like that? I kind of do like that. I like what she's got going on. How do we feel about blue witches with red hair? Okay, this is actually a better setup. 2 Reflect Knights, double the chances of dropping a ring. Ow. Ow. Wait, does Rani have red hair? I thought her hair color was different. I like blue witches, I cannot lie. Oh, Drain cannot be reflected. Oh, that's good to know for the future. I'm gonna have to make use of that. What about... Oh god, I'm dead. Damn it. Oh yeah, you know, you're right. I totally forgot about that. Okay, we're gonna have to use Drain on these guys. Wow, I'm doing, like, no damage to him. Ow. Wow, I'm getting fucked up here. Ah, still no ring. I'm gonna have to go back and heal now. That's no bueno. Oh, a Reflect Knight. Wait a minute. Maybe we can get one off this guy. Yeah, just stick with Drain. Drain can't be reflected. Oh, wait, what? That didn't work for some reason. Break, I think, can be reflected, so I'm not going to use that. Damn it. What's the drop rate on the reflect ring? Oh, here's another one. Sonic Boom. Oh, that wasn't bad. Ah, just give me one, please. Yeah. Oh, they keep giving them to me, though. Yeah, I think it's pretty bad. Ugh, I'm gonna have to heal. Oh, I just silenced myself. Good job. Good job. Hey, wait, don't I have the dancing dagger? Thought I did. Ah! Guys, where's my ring? Now I know how Sauron feels. Oh god, no. I don't like having Ferris down. We should heal. Alrighty. I'm kind of curious about something. If I get in the drive, can I drive this yet? Oh no, I can't. No, that's not what I wanted to do. No. I thought it would let me control it, but no. You joined my Discord server? Oh, thank you. Yeah, we have a wonderful server here. If someone wants to do the exclamation point Discord command. We have a lot of people playing Final Fantasy, Fantasy Life. Some of us got to MTG, Monhun, all kinds of things. If people want to game together. Also, lots of retro enjoyers out there. If anyone here is on Fightcade. You know, whatever people are playing nowadays. We have a good community of people, and I am proud of all of you. Okay, Reflect Knights. Yes, good. Please give me a ring. All I want for Christmas is a ring. Wait, why did I use bio? That was stupid. I shouldn't have done that. No! Oh, I'm dead. That was really dumb. Bio can be reflected. Yeah. Alright. That's my fault. I should not have done that. Come on, give me a ring. No ring! Guys, why is there no ring? Ah. I don't need these guys. I'm just gonna skip those battles and just stick with the ones that have the Reflect Knights in them. Since we're gonna be here for a while anyway, yeah, we don't need to fight these guys. The good news is this will help us rack up runs for the chicken knife. Oh, hell no. Hell no. Stop hitting Ferris, you bastards. I'm out. Yeah, I'm out. I'm not putting up with that. Just give me a reflect ring. That's all I want. Not even getting the right enemies. I had a thought that this might take a while. Should I put on some kind of documentary about how this game was made? Maybe that would be more interesting than seeing me grind. Would that be okay? Should I do that? How you doing, Flame? I'm just not getting the right enemies in here. Wow. Okay, you don't want to give me a single Reflect Knight. Freaking game. Okay, this is not happening. Alright, you know what? Let's try these 4s. These might give us a better chance. Okay, yeah, that's more like it. Okay, so again, we're not gonna do the, bio thing again. Didn't work out for us last time. Actually, let me try something here. Will this work? Will this work? Oh no, that reflects! Okay, that was pretty stupid. You know what? I'm gonna reset. We're just gonna pretend that didn't happen, okay? We're just gonna pretend that didn't happen. Because that didn't really work out for us at all. Okay, so lesson learned, don't break rods on those guys. It's a bad idea. No way, man. So yeah, I need 4 reflect rings for X death, and I need 4 flame rings for the crystals, and why? Time slip? I don't think so, ma'am. There's some very difficult bosses up ahead, and I don't have very good ways of dealing with them, so this is what we gotta do. I gotta say, the setup has made this, like, one of the more difficult 4-job fiestas I've done. Even though I didn't get a single Berserker. A Berserker would actually be preferable in one of the slots, you know? As strange as that might sound. Because I have the Doomax and I can do instant death on some things. But I can't do it. Would you stop giving me level triggers? Come on. I don't want that. Oh my god. Yeah, I'm out. Smoke has been surprisingly useful. Okay, there's one. Yeah, I honestly don't know which rooms. Oh, I did it again. Why the fuck am I doing this? I keep picking bio instead of break. What's wrong with me? I mean, bio instead of, drain. What am I saying? I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I used up all my brain power at work. I have none left over. Mystery Waltz. It's barely doing anything. Alright, drain him, please. Damn it. Why? Why can't I have a single reflect ring? These are not the right enemies either. I'm wondering if I'm better off just, like, staying in here and farming them. Maybe I am. Sometimes it just flat out doesn't work. Ow. No. Time slip. Oh man. Just making sure I'm on brain this time. Now, I'm pretty sure you can't reflect scrolls, so what if I did this? Alright. I'm just losing big time today. No, I don't want that. On some runs I get pretty lucky and the reflect rings come pretty quickly. This does not seem to be one of those runs. Ah, heck with it, man. Alright, you know what we're gonna do, because this is taking a while? I'm gonna do something. Hold on. Let's switch scenes. Here's what I think I'm gonna do. Not look at my email. I'm gonna put on a documentary. I'm gonna mute this game and I'll put on a documentary of how this was made, because this is taking way too fucking long. So I'm gonna stick this, like, I don't know, down here. I'll stick this in the corner and then we'll watch a documentary together on how this was made, okay? Don't worry, I'll still be playing. The incredible dev story behind Final Fantasy V. Let's watch that together, shall we? Yeah, let's do that. You know what? I'm gonna make this bigger. Where's my window thing? Let's watch this together.
As the Super Famicom had started to become the system of choice for many households in Japan, Final Fantasy IV was one of the early, standout video games available for the system. Its tumultuous development cycle had ultimately not impacted the quality of the final product, and with strong review scores and even stronger sales, there was a real sense that their decision to make a more story-driven game had worked. These aspects emboldened the team and further cemented Final Fantasy as not just one of the premium role-playing franchises to come out of Japan, but one of the premium video gaming franchises.
Heck yeah.
This placed more pressure on Square, as the ever-curious gaming public were desperate for more information about what they were planning next. There was also added pressure, because the hugely anticipated Dragon Quest V was still very much under wraps, and everyone was keen to find out how that franchise was going to transition.
We never
into
got that
the
one.
16-bit era. But as a company,
we only got up
as
to
a
4
team,
back then.
those at Square felt they were more than up to the
man, I shouldn't
task
fight
of
this guy.
matching expectations. After taking some time off to rest and recuperate, the core development staff then returned. They went back to the drawing board, hoping to make a new role-playing game that could surpass what Final Fantasy IV had accomplished. but they
I'm
were also
sorry.
desperate
I mean,
to
as much as I like this
closing the
game, you
gap
can't
on their
surpass Final
biggest
Fantasy
rival.
IV. You just can't.
This ambition led
Unless
to
you're
a heated
Final
battle
Fantasy
that then
VI.
concluded at the end of 1992, as the fifth entries of both powerhouse franchises went head-to-head. But after the dust had settled, Final Fantasy V was still standing tall.
I wish I could say the same, you know, in the West, but they didn't think we should have this game. It was such a weird situation.
After the launch of Final
that didn't
Fantasy
work.
IV, the Super Famicom only continued to grow from strength to strength. Countless high-profile games were launched, such as The Legend of Zelda: A Link to the Past.
You know, I'm sorry
Super Ghouls
I
and
never beat
Ghosts, and
Super Ghouls and
Formation
Ghosts.
Soccer.
Came
And the
close,
install
though.
base grew to levels that far surpassed anything the Famicom had accomplished, both in Japan but also in North America. Based on this, and the strong residual sales of Final Fantasy IV, which saw it continue to sell throughout the summer and beyond, Square felt justified in their decisions around cancelling the Famicom version of Final Fantasy IV and rebranding Final Fantasy V as Final Fantasy IV. Ultimately,
Why would they do
Final
that?
Fantasy was now one of the premium IPs associated with Japanese video gaming. But to ensure a solid growth trajectory for the company, there was a realization that they couldn't just rely on one major IP. Even though performance of Final Fantasy was on an upward trend, the difficulty of continuing that trend was not to be underestimated. Sakaguchi and
Yeah,
his team
sequels are
were
harder
under
to sell than the
incredible pressure to
originals,
ensure
right?
They continued meeting the expectations of their fans. And although there was a high degree of faith that this could be accomplished, should they fail, an incredible burden would befall the rest of the company. It just so happened, however, that Square had already been developing a second property that had been performing on par with Final Fantasy in terms of sales. It's just that the revenue was less due to the games being sold on
They're
the Game
talking about
Boy
the
and therefore
Mana
retailing
series.
at a lower price point.
I really need to
The
get
first
into those
two
games.
Saga games have been a huge hit in Japan, with the initial game
Over the
serving as
weekend, I was
first option
watching
produced by
Scott
Square
play
to sell
Trials of
over 1
Mana. He was doing like a
million
challenge
copies.
run.
But the
was
Saga
pretty
games,
fun.
which were rebranded as Final Fantasy Legend, also performed well in North America, posting
Damn.
strong sales and even winning awards.
Still no
The
reflect
impressive
ring.
aspect, however, was that Saga embodied the spirit of Square around that time. Ever since the breakout success of Final Fantasy, the company had been in a constant state of flux. Huge restructures had taken place to support the development of Final Fantasy as an IP. But when opportunities arose, individuals were given license to explore on their own. That was how Saga ended up being born, as even though Akitoshi Kawazu had been tasked with creating a rival to Tetris, he decided to build on the work he'd done for Final Fantasy II to create an offshoot role-playing franchise that retained a lot of the same design principles, but was also something quite
guess that
different
makes sense.
from what would become a typical Final Fantasy game. The exploration of these themes then continued with Saga 2, which was a direct successor. But after the release of Saga
Have you guys
2,
ever played the
decision
Saga
was
games
taken
before?
To try and elevate what Saga was.
No, I haven't
Higher-ups
got a
at
single
Square
ring.
wanted to
I put
create
on
a
this
second
documentary
franchise that had the same
because I
prestige
can't
and
get any
selling power
rings.
as
Is
Final
that sad
Fantasy.
or what?
To maximize this, even though Saga did continue on the Game Boy, with
I mean, the
Square
documentary
Asaka
is
being
good, don't get
placed
me
in
wrong.
charge of developing Saga 3 and wrapping up that particular narrative arc.
Yeah, I wonder if
Kawazu
I
was
should
tasked
get into
with
those
creating
games.
A brand new home console iteration of Saga under the new revised branding of Romancing
Maybe I'll get
Saga.
lucky off these
This
guys.
then served as an amped-up successor to Saga 2, and this showed how intentional
These
Square
games look
was
really
as
cool,
a
by the
company.
way.
Even though they had grand ambitions, there was a method to their madness. The Final Fantasy and Saga franchises had a very close relationship with each other, with Final Fantasy and Romancing Saga serving as distant cousins. Square even produced a
Wow, I
graphic
can't
that
seem to hit
highlighted
this
the
guy.
development relationships that existed between the two brands. And this even showed
Tempting
that
Tango?
they saw Final
Nah.
Fantasy IV as a spiritual successor to both Final
That ain't
Fantasy
what we
II
need.
and 3, as it incorporated the best parts of both games to create something different. Journalists at Famitsu even joked that because Romancing
What the
Saga
heck? Why
and
can't I
Final
hit this
Fantasy
guy?
II shared a lot of the same principles, that if you evolved Final Fantasy II and placed it on the Super Famicom, the result was likely to have been Romancing Saga. It was perhaps for this reason that upon launch, Romancing Saga
Yeah, I'm not
ended up
really
being
super
a
into
huge
Final
success.
Fantasy 2, sadly.
Although critics were not all that favourable, with Famitsu scoring at a 31 out of 40, sales were incredibly strong. Romancing Saga outsold Final Fantasy II by over 200,000 copies. And due
Wow,
to its
really?
higher price
It did
point,
that well?
it generated almost double the revenue, while also becoming the highest grossing
I'm
Saga
surprised.
game ever released up until that point. It was also the fastest selling Super Famicom game
Oh, no, we're
on
not doing
record
this.
outside of Super Mario World, selling almost 3 times more than Final Fantasy IV did in its first week on sale. Square had their second major IP, and the beauty of this was that even though it existed in the same space as Final Fantasy, it catered to a different need. As while both games did feature
I guess
turn-based
so.
combat, one had linear progression and storytelling, while the other was almost a complete polar opposite. The success of Romancing
Yeah, from what
Saga
I understand
showed
of
that
Saga,
Square
it
was
doesn't flow
company
like a Final
with a lot
Fantasy
to offer
game
the
at all.
role-playing genre. But the big
It's a
two
completely different
franchises were
beast.
still Final Fantasy and
Damn it.
Dragon Quest. And after the release of Final Fantasy IV, the soft rivalry
Still
that
no
existed
reflectoring.
only became even more apparent. Due to how much
Getting
interest
lots
there
of back
was
attacks,
around
though.
each of the franchises, starting with issue 136 of Famitsu magazine, the decision was taken by the editorial team to produce purposeful weekly updates on both franchises.
Guys, is my game broken?
Such a decision had never been taken before, as Famitsu preferred to provide very varied coverage. But they just couldn't ignore how much further there
Man,
was.
I really like how they
Fans
have
were
like
just desperate
newspaper
to learn
style
more.
stuff for Dragon Quest. That's
The
great.
premise was quite simple. Each of the columns was
This is
designed to
normal.
give consumers the feeling that they were indirectly connected with both Square and Enix. Fans were able to write in to ask questions, and where possible,
Oh, oops,
the editorial staff then tried to get
us
answers
out of
to
there.
those questions from members of the development teams. The publishers also had the opportunity to fill the columns with additional lore details relating to recently released games or upcoming games, and there were also times where fans took over completely to talk about their hopes and dreams for how they wanted Final Fantasy and Dragon
Oh man,
Quest
does anyone
to develop.
remember those like old
The main point of note, though,
Nintendo
was that
Power
Dragon
like
Quest
fan letters and
always came
stuff?
first
Those
in
are
the
great.
publication. And perhaps as a way of emphasizing its place as the dominant franchise of the two, its branding and styling was also different. Whereas the so-called Final Fantasy
Man, not
newspaper was
even
given
one.
a modest logo with no specific iconography, the DQ Times was given much more attention, even featuring specific lettering to make it look like a traditional print newspaper.
Yeah, that's so cool.
It was during one of
I mean,
these Final
man.
Fantasy newspaper segments towards the end of 1991 that Sakaguchi was quizzed on the future of the franchise. Famitsu posited
I would have read
they'd
the
heard
Final Fantasy
franchise
newspaper
had concluded,
if I
and
was
that
into
no
it back
fifth
then.
entry
I was
was
really
even
more
being
of like a
planned.
Nintendo person
In
though.
response, Sakaguchi simply stated,
All things
"You're
like
incorrect.
Mario and
We
Donkey
don't plan
Kong
to
and all
stop
that
with Final
stuff.
Fantasy IV, so rest assured, the franchise is going to continue." With everything that
Ooh,
happened throughout
concept
the
art.
development of Final Fantasy IV, including the cancellation of the Famicom version, the adaptation of the Super Famicom, and the tight turnaround times.
Oh really? You
by
had
the
an
time the
NES
game
with
had
the
shipped,
1NL?
The entire team was exhausted. Staying true to their initial mantra when developing the first Final Fantasy, they had left nothing on the table. Final Fantasy IV had combined elements from Final
I feel a
Fantasy
bit spoiled because I played the
3 and
GBA
the
version.
cancelled
That
Famicom
may not be
iteration of
proper Final Fantasy
IV
1.
to create something that was
I don't
wholly
know.
unique in the franchise. They pushed themselves to the absolute limit of their creativity, passion, and sheer capacity to work. But when the game launched,
I
the
wouldn't call
dedication of their
myself like a
craft
purist
was
or
clear as day.
anything.
As a thank you for their efforts, the entire development team was given 3 months off to try and rest and recuperate. But
Oh
when
my
they
god,
returned,
actually
the
letting your
challenge laid
devs
out
rest
was
crazy.
they now had to try and create a new Final Fantasy game that topped
Madness.
everything that they had previously
Jitterbug.
accomplished. The first part of the equation was building the team. Ever since Final Fantasy had become franchised, Sakaguchi felt it was important to have a balance within the development team. He, alongside a few other
I'm
senior
so glad
figures,
that
were
missed.
designed to serve as the core
Sonic
spine.
Boom
because
missed.
They
What the
knew
hell?
and understood the DNA of Final Fantasy. But that spine could rotate. In the preceding years, the likes of Koichi Ishii, Akitoshi Kawazu, and Hiromichi Tanaka had made their mark on the Final Fantasy franchise, with their individual DNA all over the
The
first
Reflect Knight
3
has like such
installments
ridiculous
in that
defense.
order. But as Square attempted to grow and expand, All three were given license to explore creating their own properties. This allowed Takashi Tokita and Hiroyuki Ito the opportunity to put their stamp on Final Fantasy IV. And the same
Tango.
cycle
No, I don't
occurred
need that
again,
right now.
as after the completion of the project, Tokita followed the path laid out before him by Ishii, Kawase, and Tanaka.
We got one!
Leaving the Final Fantasy
Guys, we
team.
got one.
He first served as the scenario
Three more to
director
go.
on the next Hanjaku Hero game, working alongside Kazuhiko Aoki, before then being given the opportunity to create his own IP,
no.
which ended up being called Live Alive. Tokita's
Live Alive
departure
is a good
then
game.
worked in with
Paxton, you should play that
Sakaguchi's
one.
second objective when building out the team. To
Live
give some of
Alive
the
is a
brightest
great
talent from
game.
across the company the chance to step up and show the world what they could do.
Square
One of
Enix
the
actually
individuals
gave me
who
the key
benefited
for the
most from
remake,
this
and that's
was a
how I
young,
experienced it,
aspiring
and I
employee
loved it.
called Yoshinori Kitase. Kitase had
Pick it up
joined
at some
Square
point.
in early 1990.
The Steam sale should be at the end of this month. That would be my pick for the Steam sale if anyone's looking to get
as it was known in
anything.
North America.
Try out Live
Soon
Alive.
after, he was assigned to Kawazu's team to help with Romancing
Fantastic
Saga.
game.
There was something about the way Kitase approached writing that made people stand up and take
That
notice.
was one of
And this
Toby
led to him being
Fox's
promoted
inspirations
to fulfill
for
part of the role that Tokita had
Undertale,
previously
as I
filled.
understand. I
Kitase
can
was
see
not
why.
the only individual to benefit from this organizational initiative, however. Hiromi Ito, who had previously worked on producing graphics for Saga 2,
Damn, I was
Seiken
hoping
Densetsu,
for another
and
one.
Romancing Saga, was also given the chance to step up, as was a young Hiroshi Takai.
Uh,
The third objective of Sakaguchi
yeah, you know, I
was
might as
then
well
the
just go back to
addition
the
of
sub
new
and get my
hires.
MP back.
Sakaguchi felt that this was one of the most important pieces, as even though he and other senior figures were still quite young themselves, there was also an appreciation that due to being so ingrained in the industry, they may become blind to what consumers actually wanted. New hires were therefore important to gain fresh perspectives of not just what the youth were interested in, but also
The youth.
how people from different backgrounds
What do the
and
youth
with different
enjoy
skill
these
sets
days?
set about attempting to solve the same challenges.
I actually
One
don't
of the
know.
youngest members
Guys,
of
what
the
do the
team,
youth
for example,
enjoy
was
today?
an aspiring artist called
Is
Tetsuya
it
Nomura.
still Fortnite?
Nomura had studied design at a vocational school for advertising.
I mean,
but
is it
decided to turn his
Pokemon?
back
It's got to
on
be
the advertising
Pokemon, right?
industry, as he felt there
Pokemon
were
is
too
still
many
big.
restrictions
Memes?
on his creativity.
Oh, we have taught them
He
well
had
then.
applied to Square on a whim, and when joining, was amazed at how much freedom
Memes
there
will
was
never
to
die.
not
I
only
mean, they may
explore his
change
own
over
creativity,
time.
but to influence how the games were developed.
But memes are
The final
eternal.
piece of the puzzle that Sakaguchi worked on was then solidifying the spine. And after not working
Currently
on
playing
Final Fantasy
DK64.
IV, as they
Oh.
wanted her experience and talent to help make
DK64 is
Romancing
fun.
Saga a success,
Oh,
Hazuko Shibuya
you reminded me of
rejoined
something.
the Final Fantasy team, serving as the
Something I
lead
saw on
creating
my
object
feed
graphics,
lately.
which included
There's a
character
crowd
sprites and menus,
control for
working
Kingdom
alongside
Hearts
the less
2 now.
experienced Hiromi Ito.
And I'm like,
It meant
wow,
the
am
final
I
development
crazy
team
enough to try
consisted
that
of
crowd
25
control Kingdom
people,
Hearts
and
2?
it was primarily
I
made
wanted
up
to
of
try
people
a
who had
Critical
worked on
Run.
Final
I've never
Fantasy IV
played it on
and Romancing
Critical
Saga.
before.
Only 4 individuals remained, though, who had worked on the original
But,
Final Fantasy, but they were in very
I
similar
don't know. The
roles.
idea of crowd
Director,
control Kingdom
lead
Hearts
field
2 is
programmer, lead
kind
battle
of
programmer,
intriguing
and
to me,
lead
actually.
object graphics. Those who worked on Final
I
Fantasy
wonder
IV
what kind of
and
stuff
stayed
it
with
would
the team
change.
were also retained in crucial positions, with every role related to game design.
I think there are
and battle
randomizers too
systems
for
occupied
Kingdom
by the
Hearts
same
2,
people.
but
New members of the team
I
then
don't know.
occupy positions.
I don't have an
relating
issue with
to
the way it
scenario,
plays normally.
design, and battle graphics.
Asaki Ano.
This
Whoa,
was
that's a
very
name
nice.
I haven't seen in a
They
while.
wanted some elements to be
Welcome
fresh,
on in.
and they wanted some elements to be iterated.
I'm farming
With the core
reflect
team
rings
assembled,
in my
Final
Ford Job
Fantasy V kicked
Fiesta
off in earnest
while
as a project in September 1991.
watching a documentary
The team
about how
started
this
out
game
by
was
providing
made.
initial
Welcome on in.
concept
What were y'all
sketches
doing
and
today?
potential Scenarios. And during this phase, ideas
Oh,
were
wait, I wanna use
accepted
my,
from anywhere,
knife here.
irrespective of seniority or specialism.
That didn't really do
Sakaguchi
very
and
much.
the other senior leads
Screw
were
it,
then there
I'm
to
gonna
help
use
shape
a,
the wider
flame
direction
scroll.
of the project, either by proposing ideas themselves or by polishing rough
Oh yeah,
concepts that were
Ford Job
brought
Fiesta
forth
every
by
year.
the
It's
wider
a
team.
festival
During this time,
of killing
Sakaguchi
X-Death.
also worked with people like Ken Narita,
Playing Lee with some
Kiyoshi
friends.
Yoshi,
Oh,
and
yeah.
Katsuhisa
How'd your
Higuchi,
matches go
three of
today?
the most senior programmers at Square, to determine the scope. Final Fantasy IV had been
no
developed
ring.
on an 8MB ROM cartridge.
I have to get
This
3 more
was a
reflect
significant
rings before I'm
increase from
allowed
Final
out of here.
Fantasy III, which had been
You lost
created
every
on a
single
ROM
one.
cartridge that had a
That sounds like my
capacity of
Magic the
512
Gathering
kilobytes.
pre-release
And
event
there was
that I
an
went to
initial
lately.
feeling that because of how much more space
I
they
lost
had to
almost
play with
every
by
match. I
comparison,
got a tie
that an
game in the last
8MB
one,
ROM
though.
cartridge would suffice again.
So it wasn't a
After
total
all,
blowout.
in the earlier days of the franchise, they were
Look, having
used to
fun is the
working
most
with far
important
less,
thing, right?
And the first 3 games was still able to feel distinctly unique.
You did?
despite
Oh, what
these
did you get? Did you get like the booster
Using
box
a larger ROM
and
cartridge
stuff?
also had the potential to increase the overheads of the project.
I got the
as they were more
Terra deck.
costly to
That's what I
manufacture,
got.
And it also aligns with high production costs relating
I was
to
very
staff,
tempted
as
to buy more,
assets may need to
but
be created.
I
So
kinda
the initial
stopped with
plan
that.
was to keep things small and consistent. But with Final
I
Fantasy
wanna
IV
do
continuing
Commander
to sell well,
with Final
even
Fantasy
after the
Commanders.
summer period, the decision was taken to push the Super Famicom to its limits. So an 8 MB cartridge
For
was
what it's
first
worth, the
pushed
Cloud
aside in
Sephiroth
favour
deck
of a
bundle
12
is
MB
probably
cartridge,
the best
and then a
value.
16 MB
Another
cartridge.
raid! Whoa!
The other major decision
So many
around
raids
the time
today.
related to the literal direction they wanted the project to take. They knew Final
Yes!
Fantasy V was to be
That's
another
two.
role-playing game, as
That's
it was
two. We
to be
should
an
go back
EA
and save.
franchise. But they didn't quite know what type
Chain
of
Your
role-playing
Raid was
game
a
it was going to
lucky
be.
event.
Final Fantasy IV had served as a huge step forward
Playing
for
Rune
the
Factory for
franchise,
you. Still
with
doing
its
your
bold new
explosion
focus
challenge,
on
I guess?
Scenarios paying dividends.
Thank you guys for all the
But it
support
wasn't
today.
without its detractors. There were those who had entered the franchise through either Final Fantasy 1,
I have mostly
2, or
been playing
3
Magic
that felt
through
it was far
Arena,
too linear by
so I've been
comparison with
grinding
regards to
like
how the story was
alchemy
portrayed.
matches and
But
stuff,
this notion
standard play.
also extended to character progression and how the game
it's
forced
rough.
players to use a set combination
It's rough
because
because you're playing against people who play the game way too much. They have all these OP decks and
Been given the
everything.
objective of trying to introduce a new host
And
of
I
fans
am
to the
just short of
franchise
being
from
able
demographics
to
that were outside of those
do
first
a
three
premiere
games they
draft,
tried
so I'm
to cater
hoping
towards.
that I can get
And
into
if
one.
that objective had been accomplished, then those new fans
I don't know
were
if
to
it's
have
going to be
gained
this week
expectations about the
or what,
future
whenever I have
that may or
time.
may not have been contradictory to what the
Did I get a
existing fans
Lightning
wanted.
Magic the Gathering
This
card?
therefore
No.
meant the next step in the evolution of the Final Fantasy franchise
I got
was incredibly crucial.
for like
As
3 colored
Sakaguchi
cards. I
did
got
not want to further
I got 2
ostracize
copies
their
of
core audience,
Ultimecia,
nor did he want to alienate the new
which is like,
fans they had just attracted.
and then I got 1 copy of
Ultimately,
Emmett Selk.
Sakaguchi knew that when working on a
I
series
think I
of
got a
this nature,
Renoa.
there was always going to
I'm
be
pretty sure I
pressure
got
when it came to
Renoa.
putting out a new installment.
Didn't I?
But he always saw this
No, I
as
got
a fun
Rufus.
challenge
I got
to
Rufus from
overcome, and he
FF7.
felt that this was what brought
His
out the
ability
best
is
of his
not
team,
all that
serving
great.
as the most extreme
I'm sorry to
form
say.
of motivation.
Sorry to any
How
Rufus
they
fans
solved
out
the
there.
challenge was never set in stone.
Oh,
There was
hello.
just one stipulation.
Can we get another
Whatever
one?
they went to market with had to build upon the previous work, keeping it interesting and engaging for the audiences they had already attracted by pushing beyond what they had
I would really
previously
like to have that
accomplished.
Lightning card, though. I think I
Balancing
can make
that
a great
freshness with inheriting the past work
red-white
was a
deck
really tricky
using
thing
that.
to do, though. But they had done
like an
it
equipment
3 times
deck or
before
something,
and
soldier
felt they
deck,
had a
that
good
kind of thing.
approach this time around too. The decision was therefore taken to create a new game that neither served as a complete
Oh my
summation
god,
of
a third
everything
one?
Final
Wait a
Fantasy
minute, what
had
is
been
happening
up
here?
until that point, nor a
Now I'm
direct
suddenly getting all the
non-canonical
reflect
successor to
rings.
Final Fantasy IV that just iterated and improved.
I just need one more.
Instead, the team decided to create something that combined
2
elements
Squalls.
from Final Fantasy
I went up
3
against a Squall in
and
Arena.
4,
Squall
create
is not
something
very
of the best
nice.
of both worlds
He's
product.
not a very
So
nice
as to create
guy.
a new type of Final Fantasy that blended numerous successful elements together while innovating in other
Yeah, I
areas.
guess so. You guys had
In
to
the
help
most
me with
basic of
the
senses, this notion applies
the raids,
to
I
almost
guess.
every aspect of the game's structure and design, from the scenario to the party and how they were set up, character progression, visuals,
Come on, can we
music,
get the fourth
and
one?
Of course, the battle system.
Aw.
Perhaps the most important decision, however, which affected almost every
How's
other
my
aspect
money
of the
looking?
game,
Whoa.
was that the notion of
Getting a lot
huge
of money from
non-fixed
this.
party that was a prevalent feature of Final Fantasy IV
that's
was
not what we
removed
need.
in favor of returning to a traditional party of 4. By the end of 1991, most of the detailed specifications had been narrowed down and finalized. A 150-page document
Look at that
had been
Amano
produced
art, though.
that outlined the story and an initial version of the script. And from that
I
point
wonder
forward,
why,
the development
like,
team
in
was
the
then
game,
split into
the
two
sprites
defined
look
groups.
nothing like
one that was going
the
to handle
art.
the battle system, another
I mean, the
general
sprite work is
systems
done by an
relating to
entirely different
character
artist, I
development
know,
and
but like the
progression,
colors and
one that
everything.
handled almost everything else.
I always wonder why they
When working on Final Fantasy IV,
They did that.
Hiroyuki Ito worked with Akihiko Matsui
The fancy
and
art
Kazuhiko
cards for
Aoki
Edgar? Oh,
to
really?
produce a dynamic and
May I
engaging
see it?
twist on the traditional turn-based combat system. They dubbed it the Active Time Battle
I want the
System.
fancy
And
art
after
card
numerous
for
revisions
Terra,
throughout the development
the
process,
one where she
what they
turns
ended up
into an
going to market
Esper.
with
I'd
stunned
love to have that
audiences
one. It's
in a
so
good
much
way.
money, though.
Even though Aoki left the Final Fantasy team to then work with Togita on the new Hanjaku Hero, Ito and Matsui were retained, and so too
This
were
might get a
Yoshi
bit
and
rough.
Higuchi, who had worked as programmers on the under-the-hood implementation of the battle systems associated with the 2 previous games. Working in line with the wider initiative
I don't want
associated
Gus,
with
I wanted
Final
the other
Fantasy
one.
V, They therefore approached the battle system design with the objective of building upon what they had already created, while at the same time introducing a whole host of new innovations to keep things fresh. In the most basic of senses, this meant the ATB system was to be retained, and the job system from Final Fantasy III was to return. But just because the same concepts were being brought back,
I actually really
didn't
like
mean they were to
Final
function
Fantasy III.
in the same way.
The job system in
The
it
ATB
like feels
system, for
pretty
example, was
basic
enhanced by the
compared to
inclusion
this
of the
game.
ATB bar.
But
In Final Fantasy IV, even though the
I
notion of
appreciate the
active
foundation
time
they were
was
trying to
present
build there.
and the ATB gauge was very much functioning, there was no visual indication as to how long the player had to wait.
I mean,
for their
without
character's
games like
turn
Final
to
Fantasy
arrive.
3 and Final
The
Fantasy
ATB bar
5,
was designed to solve
we
that
wouldn't have
challenge.
like Bravely
But its
Default.
introduction then allowed them to have a bit more
Now
fun
available
with
on
other
Nintendo
aspects of
Switch
design,
too.
and this then played into the revised job system.
And I kind of want to play it on
Final Fantasy
Nintendo
III
Switch too, but that'll
revolutionized
have
the
to wait
notion
till
of
another
jobs
day.
Via a system that was designed by Hiromichi Tanaka.
Imagine
and then
people doing
supplemented by
fiestas with
Sakaguchi. It proposed that characters could change
Bravely
jobs as
Default.
the journey continued.
We
with
could burn
no characters being
FF2.
locked
Look,
into
I'm not
whatever
going to
they
be a
chose at the
hater.
beginning of the
You know,
game.
personally, it
As neither
wasn't for
Ito
me.
or Matsui
It wasn't
had
for
worked
me.
on its creation,
But I'm not going
they
to hate on
approached the
anyone who
job
enjoyed
system
it.
with a fresh pair of eyes. The initial array of jobs was quite traditional, as they were almost all associated with the original Final
But
Fantasy.
if I were to ever play it
There was a
again, I'd
major
absolutely
exception,
break it
and this
by,
highlighted just
you know,
how
attacking
expansive the
myself
new
and
job
raising my
system was
stats
to
that
be,
way.
As alongside the white
Ari the
and
Potato,
black
your model is
mages,
awesome.
another
Thank you,
coloured
thank
mage
you.
was introduced
This was
called
done by a
the Blue
studio
Mage.
called Jang
During the
Atelier.
initial planning stages, someone on the team thought, wouldn't it be cool to have the playable
Hong
characters
Kong-based
somehow be
VTube
able to
studio.
use enemy attacks
They also
in
worked
battle?
on my
That
Spider
then became the premise
Oshi
for the Blue
Amiya
Mage,
Ranha.
as they were granted a
on
unique
YouTube.
affinity with the many monsters that
So,
were encountered as part of the overriding
guess
quest
we have
to save
kind of
the
the
world
same
from
family,
destruction.
sort
This
of. I
allowed
don't know
them
how
to
that
learn
works.
skills or magic from enemies and claim the technique as their
Oh,
own.
if you like
through
this
use
one,
of
by
a
the
passive
way,
ability called
wait till
learning.
you see what
For
I'm
example, let's
cooking
say
up
that
next.
one of the characters
It's
was
gonna
rocking
blow
the
your
Blue Mage
mind.
job when fighting against a Chimera. If that enemy used Aqua Breath and the player was
Thank
hit
you.
by the attack, then they could learn
This
it
was
for use in
inspired by
later
a bunch of
battles,
different
like the
things,
Sandworm
like,
boss, which could be
Odin's
killed in one
Sphere
hit
and,
with that particular move.
You know, general like
The short
Vanillaware
job was
stuff.
just as useful as any other, though.
Castlevania,
Blue Mage skills covered
Fire
a
Emblem,
broad
that kind of thing.
spectrum of
You can kind of
abilities,
see like,
and this
you
was
know,
down
all
to
those
its
sort of
designation as a
influences
utility class.
converging together, you
From an
know?
offensive perspective, not only did the Blue Mage gain access to powerful spells,
I think it's
or rarer
mostly
elements
Fire
like
Emblem though,
Aqua
but
Breath
you know, I
and
just wanted to
Arrow,
give like a
but
general
it also gave players access to classic
RPG
attacks like 1,000 Needles and Goblin
caster,
Punch.
fortune teller vibe,
From
that
the
kind of
opposite
thing.
side,
I
Blue
got
Mages
attacked
were
from
then
behind.
able to use
That's
powerful
not fun.
defensive spells such as Mighty Guard, which provided protect,
How'd that even happen?
Shell, and Float, as well as White Wind.
You know
which
what? We're
healed the
gonna do
party
this
by
then.
the same amount of HP that the caster currently had. The introduction of the ATB bar also placed emphasis on creating jobs that could
set them on
showcase
fire.
its capabilities, and this led to the creation of another mage class called
come
the
on.
Time Mage. As
Time
development
Mage is
continued,
absolutely busted. I
over
wish we could
20
have gotten
unique
that
jobs
one.
ended up being created. And what was impressive about this particular
Alright, I guess we
milestone
can wipe
was
these
that
guys
unlike
out now.
previous games where there was often a notion of upgrade jobs, such as the Ninja in the original Final Fantasy, which was essentially an enhanced thief, or the Devout in Final Fantasy III,
I actually
which was
really
just
like the
an enhanced
Ninja
white
from
mage.
FF1.
In Final Fantasy V,
More
every
so on the
job had its
GBA
own
version, though.
individual mechanics and function. Not all jobs made the cut, however. The Diver, for example, was a job that was going to use a harpoon as a weapon and was planned
there was
to
a
enhance
diver
abilities
job?
for any characters using
Wow,
the
can you
job
imagine?
when fighting in or around water. An earlier iteration of the Beastmaster
could be like
also
Aquaman.
ended up being absorbed into the Berserker
Dang it.
job. But the array they ended up with was still very expansive, and due to the addition of a whole host of unique skills and passive abilities, the memory allocation was pushed
Okay,
to its
this is more
absolute
like it.
limit. Due to there being so many jobs, another core design principle proposed by Ito and Matsui related to ease of use. When they reflected on the job system from Final Fantasy
stop
III,
doing
there
Gus,
was a
that's
sense
not
that it was
helping.
too restrictive and confusing. They therefore wanted to make Final Fantasy V similar
Sword
at its
dance!
core,
Whoa, the rare
but
sword
much
dance.
simpler
Holy
and
cow.
easy to use.
Almost
To
never
work
see that
towards
now.
that objective, the decision was taken to have character attributes remain the same, irrespective of the job being used. And on top of this, they made it so that job abilities were adjustable, and through the new mastery system, could also be combined. This then made it possible for
Oh
characters
yeah,
to
you
work
can make all
outside
kinds
the
of crazy
confines the
combinations
system
in this
to
game. I
create
love it.
hybrid jobs and unlock the potential for players to craft hundreds of different command combinations.
Yeah, that's the whole appeal.
Working back around to the notion of the Blue Mage and how meticulously it was constructed, the same care and attention was then placed on every single
Blue Mage is
job.
also
The
absolutely
developers
busted in this
wanted
game.
to make sure that nobody ever felt penalized for the jobs they liked. They never wanted to make people feel like they had to change jobs in order to succeed. They also
That's
didn't want to
ironic,
penalize people who
isn't
found a
it?
job they liked and never wanted
What with
to
me
change
doing the
away
Fiesta?
from it, even if that was one of the first jobs they got access to. Huge amounts of work was therefore done around balancing to make sure the game was possible to beat with
I think
every
we should go back
single
and heal.
conceivable party combination. They even tested the game to ensure it could be beaten without ever even changing jobs. And to further this principle,
Oh god, when I first
outside of
saw
there
like
being
that
no
Neo
hidden or
access
advanced
sequence,
jobs,
that like
the
blew
jobs
my
that
mind.
were made accessible to the player were made available quite early on in the game. None were locked away until the final stages. The idea behind this was that they knew players would want to start building their
the one that I
protagonists
need to unlock
almost
is
as
like
soon
in the
as
final
game
stages,
started,
yeah.
nurturing them as they play through the game and supplementing their skill
I don't want
sets.
to fight this guy.
This then served as a loose allusion to Final Fantasy II, where characters developed based on utilization. But even though all of this was incredibly exciting, there were countless innovations beyond the job system and the ATB system. New status effects were introduced, such as aging and zombie, that were designed to
Aging
challenge
is the
players in ways
worst.
they just previously weren't.
It's so
Best
bad.
equipment and remove all
It's great
commands
when it
added
works
to
for
the
you,
menu
though.
system for ease of use when it came to equipping characters. And the item capacity was expanded to 255. A brand new shortcut
Oh yeah, that's
mechanic
right. When you
was even
played
added
original
that was selectable
FF4,
from the
you were
options
limited
menu.
on items,
This
weren't
allowed
you?
characters to
I think
perform
you were.
specific abilities or use specific spells quickly without having to
See, like
navigate
whenever
through the
I
menu
play an
system to
RPG, I'm a
select them every
kleptomaniac. I
single time.
never sell
The
anything. I just
multiplayer feature
keep it all in my
introduced in Final
inventory.
Fantasy IV was also carried over, but it was now given
I
much
play
more
Skyrim the
purpose
exact
due to
same
the
way.
fixed nature
I
of
have to
the
use
party.
bandolier mods.
This meant players could delegate control of specific characters throughout the entire game, adding to the immersion and turning Final Fantasy into a more shared experience.
Yeah.
Each of these elements pushed the system design to heights that anyone who played Final Fantasy IV would never have thought possible. But this was a testament to the work of the team.
Oh, let me
and
pause
perhaps
this.
their crowning.
Okay. It's time for us to take a break. This is interesting to me. We'll come back to this after the break, okay? I'll see y'all in a bit. Okay, breakover. Alright, let's get back to what we were doing. Oh, wrong scene. Oh, what happened to my... Wait, so, hold on. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I was on the wrong scene. Alright, let's watch more of this video.
Glory in this regard didn't relate to the party or jobs, but the enemies that the player
Wait, why am I
encountered
fighting this guy?
as they
I want to
fought
fight
their
this
way
guy.
through the story. In the first 4 games, enemies were given abilities.
You need to
and
remind yourself when
simplistic
you
attack
stream your
patterns.
capture audio resets
Some
to 100.
bosses
You have
were
to
made
cut in
feel
half.
more
The audio gets
adaptive,
really
but for the
loud.
most
You have to
part,
watch your
everything
monitors
was
in
quite
OBS.
formulaic, and once the pattern of those more complicated bosses was
If
established,
your media
it was just a case
is
of adapting.
yellow
To work
and
in
it's
with everything else,
you
Ito
know,
felt that Final Fantasy V
it's overpowering
needed
your
to feel
voice.
more
You have it
advanced,
too loud.
and came up
It
with a
should be
precursor to what
close
later
to
became
yellow,
known
but not
as
yellow.
the Gambit
That's
system.
how I do it.
Using this
Just
system,
look at
enemies
the bars
were
in
given routines
OBS.
that were situation-based, as opposed to set in stone. This meant that instead of monsters just using a set move based
that's
on
how
a
I do
specific
it.
pattern, or having it based
It's nice
on
that everything
random
is
number
color-coded in
generation,
OBS, by the way.
abilities were purposeful based on the scenario they were facing. This meant enemies were able to adapt depending on the actions of the party, and it created a system whereby, depending on the party setup,
the Gala
two
cats.
players
Oh, here we go.
may end up
Preemptive
being
strike.
challenged by the same encounter in very different ways. And this would then encourage players to adapt themselves and come up with new strategies. Due to this system, and there being so many potential ability combinations thanks to the expansive job system, when playtesting was underway, the team were constantly finding new ways of
Darn
beating
it.
bosses and regular encounters. During
How
the
many
initial design
reflect rings
phase,
do I
it never set
have?
out to have this as an
I think
objective,
I got 3.
but it just
Yeah, I need
evolved
one
that
more.
way out of a desire to make the game fun for everyone who played it. The biggest challenge, however, was that the team had to proactively try and stop Ito from making modifications to the system. Sakaguchi shared that they made a proactive decision to only inform Ito of bugs or unintended exploits as opposed to successful strategies, as they wanted players to experience the same joy and thrill of defeating bosses in unorthodox ways as they themselves had felt during the playtesting. Ito, however, still
I love
continued
beating
to try
bosses
and
in
tinker with
unorthodox
bosses and
ways.
enemy gambits to make the encounters as hard and challenging as possible without being unfair. With all of these elements considered, even though
I'd
the
say
scope was
overall,
diminished in terms of characters,
this is just my
it was
opinion.
increased
I
in
feel like
so many other
FF5 is
areas.
harder than
But the
FF4 in
aspect
some
the team
ways.
were most proud of was that they had also managed to make the system that much more accessible and complicated at the same time.
Depends on the
This
version of
meant Final
FF4, though.
Fantasy V was able to appeal to casual fans and hardcore fans in equal measure, perhaps more so than any prior game. And beyond that, the system was just easy to have fun with. While Ito and Matsui toiled away on developing all of the
This isn't
battle
working
and
very
gameplay
well.
systems, the rest of the team attempted to make sure that all of the other elements were of the same high standard. And perhaps the most important aspect was the narrative. With so much praise given to the strength of Final Fantasy IV's scenario, Sakaguchi knew that they should continue down the same path while amplifying certain aspects and course-correcting others. The large party had been created as a way of trying to resolve the issues of the first 3 games. It exposed players to plenty of unique characters, each with their own backstories and motivations. And with so much happening in the
sure
world,
am.
having party members rotate added an element of
It's
agency.
taking me so
The
long
downside was that the
to get a
experience felt much
4th
more linear, with players
reflect
given
ring
limited
that
control over how
I
the
am
story
basically
developed
putting on a
and how they
video.
could tackle the gameplay challenges
Also,
they
hello,
were
Riza,
faced
good to
with.
see you.
Resolution was therefore to shrink everything back down to a
Looks
party
like
of
the
4,
Switch 2 is
but retain the
growing Rune
protagonists being
Factory-
given specific names,
What?
backstories, and individual narrative arcs. The element of choice and
I'm not surprised that
non-linearity
the Switch
then
2
came
is
via
doing
the
well.
job
It's
system.
Nintendo.
But the team was also conscious about making
It's
the story less
Nintendo, of
linear
course
too,
it's gonna do well.
and more impactful. Despite coming from a non-gaming
It's gonna
background,
do even better when it
Kitase
has
was
more games on
obsessed
it.
with movies. He had studied storytelling
that
techniques
doesn't
and
shock
was
me
very
at all.
particular about how scenes should be delivered. After being hired
Ow,
by
that
Square,
really hurt.
this keen attention to detail was evidenced via scenes he was given on Seiken Densetsu, and Sakaguchi and other senior members took note. Final
I get a
Fantasy
reflect
V
ring here?
represented a real opportunity for Kitase to step up, and he worked alongside Sakaguchi and a new hire called Ikuya Dobishi to build out the scenario and introduce elements of comedy to balance out the quite serious
No,
themes.
the answer is no.
For his part, Sakaguchi had always been more attached to the scenario than any other aspect of development. He had played a prominent part in either conceiving or
Got 2 more
doctoring many of the
chances here.
previous plots, but had then often delegated the actual script writing to someone else. For Final Fantasy III, that someone else was Kenji Terada, with Togita then taking up the mantle on Final Fantasy IV. This time around, however, there was a notion that, due to how much the scenario had to be evolved, it was too much work for one person to take on.
Nice, got
So,
3 at once.
Even though he was still serving as the overall director, Sakaguchi and Katase penned the script together, with Katase then producing many of the in-game scenes that happened in the field that were referred to as events.
We did it!
then complimented the work done by Sakaguchi
We got
and
it!
Katase, as he was
I'm
responsible
gonna leave the video
for more
on 'cause I
subtle
find this
storytelling that
interesting.
related to the world map and dungeons. Other staff members were still able to put forth their own ideas for event sequences, however. Hiroyuki Ito, for example,
We did it,
even
chat.
proposed a fun narrative development that related to forcing the player to
Oh, we are
choose
not
between
taking the
picking a
Brave
chicken
Blade,
knife
absolutely
or
not.
a Brave Blade, as this then tied directly in with the battle system. The characters themselves were also designed to be
I haven't won
contrasting
yet.
and surprising.
Oh,
This
wait,
meant
why
that
am I
while
using
Bartz and
that? I
Lena
should
were
be using, like, a
quintessential
thunder
characters
spell.
who represented the
whatever.
polarizing exuberance of youth and responsibility, Galuf was there as a mysterious older hand, and Faris was something of an enigma. Her identity was made purposefully ambiguous from the start of the game, as after being inspired by the manga,
Yeah,
Princess
I guess
Knight,
it was novel at the
Sakaguchi
time that
decided
to
create a
reveal
homage, with
Faris as being a
disguising
woman.
herself and acting as a man, despite being Lena's long
You know, in the
lost
same way
sister.
that Samus
Faris'
Aran,
reveal
you know, got
was not
revealed
the
as a
only
woman.
reveal Sakaguchi and Katase plotted, however. Both Final Fantasy II and IV had introduced the notion of sacrifice amongst the playable cast, as with the characters all being named and there being so many of them, they felt it could add some emotional brevity. But with Final Fantasy V only featuring 4 playable party members, introducing the same idea was a lot more
Yeah, she's the
complicated.
pirate captain.
The
Also,
solution
best
was
character in the
therefore
game.
to introduce a 5th party member
Might be
who served
biased,
as a
though.
near direct replacement for the character who was
You
no
see why all
longer
those
to be
pirates
supporting the
followed her.
party. And this then meant they could have all the emotional weight without there being any
Shoko?
kind of gameplay penalization.
You mean Boko?
By the end of the process, despite the reduced cast, Final
Boko's
Fantasy V
our
ended
boy.
up with over 4 times as many event sequences compared to Final Fantasy IV.
Yeah, it's Boko, and then he
Sakaguchi,
meets
Katase, and
Coco
Dobushi
later on.
had outdone themselves, making use of all the available storage. But some harsh decisions still needed to be made along the way. Similar
Alright,
to
we
Final
took out all
Fantasy
the
IV,
Reflect
where the
Knights.
story ended up being
Maybe we'll
far
get
too
an
dense,
extra one.
A culling process, of course, had
I
to
don't know how
happen.
many of these,
It was
how
nowhere near
much these
severe,
sell
but
for.
ancillary scenes and dialogue that didn't move the plot forward or add any pertinent backstory were removed. That being said, one of the major things they wanted to keep was optional sequences. To address the criticism around
God, I really need
linearity,
that gold
Sakaguchi
hairpin.
was keen to introduce numerous event scenes that were not mandatory. They were designed to reward players for exploring and
Okay,
undertaking
yeah,
short
whatever,
side quests,
fine, why
but
not?
they were not crucial to understanding the
Sure.
story or the wider
I'll take a
lore.
5th one.
The quest designed by Ito around
keep
selecting
giving me
the blade
more, why
was
not?
the perfect example.
I
But
need
it was via
money.
this particular initiative that the famed mimic Go-Go was introduced alongside the innovative strategy for defeating it, while another was more narrative
bio.
focused and revolved around Faris finding her old friend Sildra. These
When in doubt,
aspects
use bio.
highlighted how much the development of Final Fantasy V became a
2
team
reflect
effort,
rings per
with people pitching
person,
in from
double the
all across
reflect,
team.
double the
But perhaps
damage.
the area that felt this the most was aspects relating to
You know what? I'm
presentation.
just gonna use a.
Final Fantasy IV was
10.
very much seen as a transitional game by
I
the
need to buy more
development team.
cottages.
Although new assets were created, much of the focus was placed around utilizing the new options available, such as expanded color palettes.
Okay,
and
great.
the
We don't
Mode
need to
7
use the.
capabilities. It was for this
10
reason
I mean,
that some of the same
reflect
sprites
rings
that were
right
introduced
here,
within
we
the
can
Famicom era were
certainly
brought
use
back,
them on
such as
X-Dev.
Paladin Cecil, essentially being a recolored version of the Knight from
you know,
Final
if we
Fantasy
we're probably
III.
not going to get there tonight
Many of the
at this
NPCs,
rate.
such as black
But
mages
that's
and
okay.
soldiers, were
I'm gonna
also
get
just
out of this
palette
fight. I don't
swaps
wanna fight
and were
these
given
guys.
near identical animations. Final Fantasy V
I don't want to
was
fight
meant
them
to represent
because I
how
don't
much
want to
the
risk
creative team had
Ferris
evolved,
getting
and no
blinded
expense
and
was
me
spared.
not being able to do anything
Part of the
about it.
reason that Kazuko Shibuya was brought back onto the
can
team
fight these
was
guys,
due to
though.
her incredible talent with pixel art and her ability to create assets with incredible efficiency while also being of a high standard. In the
Look at
past,
that.
she had focused on all aspects of pixel design, from creating party members, monster sprites, and even the UI. But due to the sheer scale of Final Fantasy V, she was classified as creating object graphics, and Hiromi Ito was assigned to assist her. Part of the challenge was that even though the party was much smaller in size, Due to the volume of jobs available and the necessity for each job
they
to
create
have
way
unique
more sprites for every job.
character, over 100 unique sprites had to be created for the final
Isn't
version.
that cool, though?
And with each character also having unique movement patterns and actions, thousands of party-specific assets had to be made. To put this into perspective, even though Final Fantasy III introduced the job change system, only 282 sprites needed to be created for the entire party. Due to the ballooning party size, this number then jumped to over 900
Dude, why am I
for
missing
Final
this
Fantasy
guy?
IV, but Final Fantasy V ended up featuring over 3,000 party-specific sprites, which
Holy
was more
cow.
than 10 times the amount required for Final Fantasy III. It was a colossal undertaking, and it pushed Shibuya and Ito to the limit of what they could do, both artistically
Okay,
but also
fine.
in terms of what they could actually
I'm not going to
deliver
complain.
within the specified
It's
time
more
frame.
money.
To assist with other aspects of asset creation, 2 other teams were therefore formulated.
No, we're not
one to
doing this
focus
one.
on field graphics, which contained Tetsuya Takahashi and Hideo Minaba, and another to focus on battle graphics, which contained the most junior artists, including the likes of Tetsuya
Gotta
Nomura
see where
and
the,
Hiroshi Takai.
Gold hairpin
Both of these
is
areas
here.
were given real focus, with the world map, dungeons, and towns now given much more purposeful
might be
and
higher up.
ornate designs. And as if to showcase how much this particular aspect of the visuals was being amped up, the opening sequence had a lavish castle that featured tons of intricacies. The battle scene was also enhanced to feature dynamic elements, and even though Yoshitaka Amano returned to create concepts for all the major monsters featured in the game, the team of 5 artists who were responsible for translating his work to pixel format were also given license to come up with their own ghoulish and ghastly creations. Alongside the visual presentation elements, audio was also given the same enhanced treatment. By this point, Noboru Uematsu had been solidified as one of the preeminent talents in Japan when it came to video game
he's the man.
compositions, with Square able to put on sell-out concerts dedicated to his work, and original sound versions selling tens
They were
of
even
thousands
having
of copies
concerts
upon
like way
release.
back when.
But
That's
there was
crazy.
still room to grow, and to help Uematsu with this endeavor, a sub-team was set up with the specific focus of working alongside Uematsu and supporting him and ensuring that what he envisioned was possible in-game. Minoru Akeo, for example, was a sound programmer who spent a lot of time figuring out a way to have the map music continue playing where it left off after a battle had concluded, as there was a sense that having it start again from the beginning
Is there
each
one in
time
here?
broke the
No.
immersion. With this now being Uematsu's 5th Final Fantasy
be getting
soundtrack,
close,
though,
though.
he was keen to
Oh,
try
I think
new
this
things.
might be it.
As such, he composed the opening theme first and the ending theme
Ooh,
last.
let's see.
Uematsu also tried to work on tracks in tandem with the development
Strike,
teams,
great.
often trying to get ahead of where they were in-game. This meant he'd write music based on what he thought the scenes may look like, and sometimes this meant he'd have to redo pieces based on how they turned out in-game, but others, there would be a moment
not
of
screwing
elation
around
when the
with this
developers
guy.
heard how the music sounded due to Uematsu's unique interpretation of the sequence. It meant that, unlike other composers, who were often siloed away from the team, Uematsu was very much included as part of a dynamic and inclusive environment. Collaboration was encouraged, and everyone was made to feel like they could contribute no matter their role. Ultimately,
Okay, as
even
long
though
as he doesn't
Uematsu
do
tried
his,
to keep
like,
things interesting by introducing
fire
elements such as
thing,
Nordic
that should be
themes
fine.
and finding ways to reintroduce classic themes that fans had come to know and love, he also struggled throughout the project, and this took a toll on his mental health. Similar to
Oh,
other
no.
departments, he was required to write more music than he'd ever written before, but in the same amount of time. And after reading through the script,
come
Uematsu
on.
had initially thought the game might
Ooh.
require around 100
Elfcape
pieces
doing work.
of unique music. After careful consideration, he was at least able to cut this down
Come on.
to 56.
Yeah.
Even still, despite cutting down the expected scope by a considerable number,
There
which
it
meant
is,
Final
gold
Fantasy
hairpin.
V only contained 14 more tracks than the previous
Giving
game,
that
the
to
tracks
you.
were now much
Giving it to
longer
you.
and more structured. This meant Final Fantasy
You're gonna have
V
wizard
featured
hat,
more
yep.
than double the combined track length of
Awesome.
Final Fantasy IV. Such concessions were vital for helping to control the
Level
workload.
trigger. Alright,
For
fine.
many of the departments struggled with scope creep. Due to the size of the ROM cartridge being increased so much, every single team wanted
there
to
should be
show
a
what
save
they could
point
do,
coming up
and so
anyway.
demanded more and more resources. Hiroshi Takai, for example, was told he had twice as much capacity for creating the visual effects related to spells than there was available on Final Fantasy IV. He therefore sought to make the animations even more complex, but miscalculated and ended up using 3 times more storage.
Whoops.
But due to his work then being approved, Takai had to keep going around to his colleagues in other departments asking if he could make use of any spare capacity they might have available. It was for this reason that many other aspects had to be cut. In this regard,
wow,
monsters
so much
were
money
one of
now.
the easiest things to be scrapped.
Can't wait
And
to
this
lose
meant
it all.
that even though there was an increase in the volume of normal enemies and bosses available for players to test themselves against, this increase was marginal
what the heck is this
at around
guy?
only 25%.
I don't actually know.
Other aspects that were deemed superfluous were also removed, such as re-implementing the developers room from Final Fantasy
Hi,
IV.
Lilycat. How's it
There
going?
just
Welcome
wasn't
on in.
enough space. Any
We're
space
listening
they
to a
had
documentary
had to just
about
be
Final
focused on
Fantasy
delivering
V while I
core
play Final
experience to
Fantasy
the highest
V.
quality, as opposed to ancillary elements
It's
that can
kinda
enhance
like
the experience in more
Inception.
fringe ways. Beyond this, the team also
Shout
had
out
to
for
contend
Lilycat
with
as well,
numerous
please.
setbacks that meant deadlines became even more tight. At one point, for example, the office caught on fire, and
EP
due
after
to the
stream,
hardware
guys,
they were
support the homies.
using,
Right
and how
on. What
much
were
it
you
was being
doing
pushed,
today?
there were often crashes. And should developers be in the unfortunate situation of not having saved their data on a regular cadence, this could lead to hours upon hours of
Deltarune. Ooh, I heard
unsaved
good things
work
about that.
needing to
How
be
is that
recreated.
one?
Despite all of these challenges, however, development wrapped up in July of 1992, with full-on development of Final Fantasy V.
Okay,
only
it looks like
taking
you're
around
killing
7 months.
Lena, or maybe
It was
maybe
in and
nope,
around this
definitely
time
Yoko.
that
Okay,
the two
Yoko's
distinct development groups then merged together to work harmoniously on the final stretches.
All right, we gotta do
namely
big
the
damage
crucial
here.
debugging phase. With the game being so dense, and with there being so many hidden details and potential job combinations across
Making
all
theory
the
craft to the
characters,
inner chapter face looking
debugging
for next
was
stream.
of
Nice,
paramount
nice.
importance. Bugs were always
Is
going
that
to creep
entire
into the final
game
product that was
out right
a given
now?
for any kind of role-playing experience.
I didn't know if it
But the
was or
developers
not.
had to make sure that there were no game-breaking bugs found that related to what could be considered
this guy has
the
a
core
lot of
path,
HP.
and
I
any
gotta be
paths that
careful
were
here.
closely related to that core path. Their objective throughout these 2 months was therefore to try and play through the game
Oh,
in every
no.
conceivable way. This was a
No.
monotonous and laborious experience,
Slowing down my
especially considering
ATV bar.
many of the
Okay, we
team
gotta,
had
like,
already
maybe
spent
throw some
7 months
scrolls at him.
slaving away creating the various aspects. But the game was given the green light in
No,
October,
it's not
going
doing
gold
enough.
before its planned launch in December.
Maybe he resists that. I don't know.
Final Fantasy IV had
Gus,
gone
no,
through a
don't do
rather
that.
tumultuous pre-launch marketing cycle due to cancellations and the wider
Bio
focus
is like
on
my
trying
best
to
spell
appeal
right
to
now.
a new audience. But with the Super Famicom now more established,
hit him.
and with Final Fantasy very much positioned as one of the premium brands,
Yeah, hitting him
things
is
were a lot
doing
more
more.
straightforward ahead of the release
Old.
of Final Fantasy V.
Oh no.
Or at least that's how it
Well,
seemed.
that's bad too.
Whereas NX had hit the Famicom hard, releasing 4 Dragon Quest games in quick succession, when it came to the Super Famicom, they wanted
Why couldn't
to
you do
take
that
their
to
time and
Galuf?
release a product that was befitting of the name and prestige of the
man.
brand. This approach meant Final Fantasy IV launched without serious competition.
Well, if I lose, I will
This time
try
around,
again, of
both
course.
Dragon Quest V and Final
we're not
Fantasy
doing
V
too bad here, though.
were planned to go head-to-head. And as Square had already shown their hand, there were serious question marks
I don't know
around
how
how
much
the
time I have before
market-leading
he,
Japanese-developed role-playing
revives.
franchise, Dragon Quest, was going to look
might have
in the
to,
16-bit era,
yeah,
and
I
whether
gotta
it
use
would further
Phoenix
cement
down.
its position as the top dog.
Now I'm
Despite
hoping
loose
he
mentions
picks
and
someone
allusions
else
that
this
they were
time.
working on a follow-up to Final Fantasy IV, it actually took some time before Square were ready to lift the lid and reveal the next iteration on the franchise. The long-awaited
I'm starting
reveal
to do less
happened
damage.
on
I
the
hope-
7th
I hope
of
you pick
August
Ferris. That'd be great if you
1992
did.
in issue 190 of Famitsu magazine. And what was curious about this particular reveal date was that development on the game was already completed before the game was announced. It was never
Okay, you
confirmed,
kind of suck.
but it felt like they were
yeah.
attempting to compensate for what had happened with the whole debacle surrounding the cancelled
Damn it.
Famicom version of Final Fantasy IV and the subsequent rebranding of Final Fantasy V to Final Fantasy IV. They just wanted to mitigate
come on.
all risk and ensure there was a limited
No.
period between the time of announcement and launch so as to maximize and then capitalize on hype. Not too long after,
please
on the
kill him.
27th of August, Final Fantasy V then appeared at Famicom Space World
Damn
in
it.
1992, where it went head-to-head with Dragon Quest V.
Nope.
From this
Well,
point
goodbye.
onwards, the two games were in direct competition with each other.
Damn it, we
But
gotta
even though Square were
kill this thing
seemingly
right
at
now.
a disadvantage, with Dragon Quest, the most established franchise, Dragon Quest V, the most anticipated
No.
game, and NX having already started the marketing
shit.
cycle in earnest for that game. Throughout
I
September,
should probably have
it became
Galuf do,
apparent
like,
that
black
Final
magic.
Fantasy
Oh,
was
no,
the game
we're
winning the
screwed.
hype war, not Dragon Quest. After Famicom Space World, attendees were surveyed, and one of the questions on the survey related to their
Should you
most
be looking at the video of my
game
gameplay?
based on what
Yes.
they had played. Final Fantasy V ended up receiving 955 votes, which placed it firmly in the number 1
How you doing,
spot.
Sackman?
But perhaps most importantly, this was 80% more votes than Dragon Quest V. This survey then began to be reflected within Famitsu's infamous
I'm having a
Most
tough time
Wanted
against
poll.
this boss.
Within the same issue, Final Fantasy V had supplanted Dragon Quest V to take the top spot, and to further emphasize how impressive this was, the top 5 games were all role-playing titles, with Landstalker, Shin Megami Tensei, and Mother 2,
Yo, Shin
the other
Megami Tensei.
highly anticipated upcoming games.
Not
in that
good,
genre.
not bad, just okay.
The margin between
That sounds
Final
like a
Fantasy
Monday
V
feeling
and
to me.
Dragon Quest V only continued to widen from this point, despite Dragon Quest V launching in just 3 months. And this was a scenario that was beyond the wildest dreams of anyone at Square. Keen to continue the momentum, they revealed tons of information via Famitsu, including a huge deep dive into the countless jobs that were to be featured. Issue 200 of Famitsu included some of the heavy hitters, with subsequent issues running through the additional jobs. This approach was quite different from the approach taken with the previous game, as it was very much geared around pleasing existing fans and getting them excited, as opposed to trying to capture new audiences. And this ended up being a very
now they are trying to capture new
approach.
audiences.
Despite
funny
their
how
huge
thi-
objective
how,
of
times have
expanding their
changed, huh?
demographics, it wasn't until Final Fantasy V was well into production that they found out that Final Fantasy IV hadn't actually attracted as many new fans as they thought. Surveys showed that their core demographics were still middle school and high school students. They had failed to attract elementary school students and adults in any kind of significant way.
Really?
The only thing that had happened was that their existing audience from the Famicom era had just grown up and been replaced by younger gamers in the exact same demographic.
Oh.
Based on this knowledge, the marketing team decided to place less effort on attempting to appeal to as many people as possible and instead focused more on their core audience. But even though that was the case, it didn't mean they had to dial things back, and they went big on creating an innovative range of high-quality TV commercials. For years, Square had been producing TV commercials for their games, choosing purposeful time slots and airing in specific regions of Japan where they knew they were going to get the biggest bang for their buck. But they also had taken unorthodox approaches, as shown by the commercials they produced for Final Fantasy IV.
Oh yeah, the ostrich
Final Fantasy
chocobo
V,
one. I think I've seen that one.
Over 100 different marketing proposals have been submitted for what the latest round of big-budget TV commercials should look like. These were then narrowed down to just 4, and then just 1, which proposed using cutting-edge computer graphics. This proposal became known as
Look at
the
that
Chocobo
face
Hole,
on the
as
bomb.
the premise focused around the Chocobo
That is
observing
an
some
amazing
iconic foes
face.
from previous games that appeared from a hole. Armed with a budget of around $300,000, a couple of different variants were produced, with each one only lasting around 10 to 15 seconds.
Whoa.
And those variants were then shown across 7 major cities, ensuring they air between 6 PM and 9 PM in the lead up to launch and the month after to ensure their primary demographic was hit. Alongside this,
demon head
Square
coming out
also
of the
revealed
ground,
the
though.
Final Fantasy V 5+1 mini-album as a way of getting people even more excited. It featured 5 tracks from the upcoming game, composed by Uematsu, but it also featured a special arrangement of Matoya's Cave from the original game, which had been reworked using the increased hardware capabilities of the Super Famicom
I don't think I've
soundchip.
ever heard that track.
But with so much anticipation building ahead of launch,
I'm
the
dead.
elephant in the room was still
Get a
Dragon Quest V.
heal here.
Launching on the 27th of September, everyone was keen to see how the first Dragon Quest game in years was going to perform. But with reportedly hundreds of thousands of pre-orders and many more thousands queuing outside of game stores on the day of release, it was no surprise to hear that it sold almost 600,000 copies by the end of its first day on sale.
Anybody
And just
here
shy of
ever
another
played Dragon Quest V?
600,000
I don't think
were then
I've
sold
ever
in the
touched.
following
No,
week.
I've never touched that
With
one.
publications and
I don't think
word
I've
of
ever
mouth
even
and
seen
supporting
anyone
the
play
hype
Dragon
and
Quest V.
confirming that the game had delivered on expectation, the further it was justified, and the sales continued. But by December, there was a craving
Kinda
for
curious
more,
about it,
and
though.
Final Fantasy V arrived at just the right time to take advantage. When the game launched on the 6th of December, it wasn't quite able
Yeah,
to
you
match
played
Dragon
it,
Quest V, but almost 300,000 copies were sold.
Is that the
on
one
launch
that
day. Compared
lets you
to
raise
previous Final
monsters
Fantasies,
and you
this
fight with
was
them and
a
stuff?
monumental figure,
Kinda like
and it was
SMT.
almost 3 times more than Final Fantasy IV had accomplished in its first 3 days on sale. And whereas Final Fantasy IV grew to sell 250,000 copies in its second week, Final Fantasy V grew to sell almost 500,000.
That's cool.
This momentum then carried on, and by the end of 1992, despite only being on sale for a few weeks, Final Fantasy V had managed to sell more than its predecessor in its entirety.
Oh, he's dead.
And became the first game in the franchise, and for Square as a company, to sell over 2 million copies. But despite the huge commercial success, which was amplified by Final Fantasy V retailing at a higher price point than its predecessor, critics were not quite as easily pleased. In Famitsu, Final Fantasy V scored 34 out of 40, which was worse than the previous game, and their comments were varied. Minoru Noda and Rolling Uchizawa both scored the game as an 8, as they felt the new job system was a marvel due to how complex it was, despite being so accessible, with the protagonist and storyline making
I think I had that for my
Isabella Nagano, who awarded the game a 9, also felt that Final Fantasy V had a compelling story, and that they maximized the hardware. However,
they're pretty
despite
good.
also giving the game a 9, Adotsu Suzuki summed up the wider sentiment. They stated that even though the game was made much more accessible, it was too similar to Final Fantasy IV and lacked freshness. Fans, however, did not agree. After collating votes submitted by readers of Family Computer Magazine, Final Fantasy V was awarded a 27.91, which was 0.34 higher than its predecessor. They felt the game was more original, had better characters, was easier to play, and felt more engaging.
I'm gonna go for the chicken knife while I'm here.
They did feel as though the music had taken a step back in quality, and that there was less replay value. It was perhaps because of this high praise and wider performance that Square then started to explore how the game could be localized and released for Western audiences. But this was where they faced a dilemma of their own making. After the disappointing Western launch of Final Fantasy IV, the general consensus at Square was that it had failed to appeal to North Americans because everything was just too complicated for them to understand.
I think this might be World 3.
Despite there being a prospering market for role-playing games amongst PC enthusiasts, they felt the same awareness of the genre didn't exist among those playing on home consoles, despite sales of the original Final Fantasy and the Final Fantasy branded spin-offs releasing on handheld consoles, suggesting something to the contrary.
This is what we want.
To try and lay more solid foundations ahead of subsequent releases, Square therefore decided to greenlight Final Fantasy Mystic Quest. It was to be tailored specifically to the North American market and made much simpler. But this decision, when combined with all previous decisions,
we got all the high-level black magic, so that's all I care about.
The reality was that Final Fantasy was now suffering from a severe identity crisis in North America. They had so many different formats of games featuring the Final Fantasy name that it was difficult for consumers to figure out what they were getting into if they purchased a game that featured the branding.
Because it'll help.
The original game must have felt like something of a distant cousin to Final Fantasy IV.
It was
much the same for Final Fantasy Adventure and Final Fantasy Legend,
which
were so different they had grown to become independent franchises in Japan. Mystic Quest muddied the waters even more, as it was similar to Final Fantasy Legend, but featured different sub-branding, was on a different console, and was targeted by marketing at a different audience.
That was the Deku Tree, wasn't it?
Despite this, initial plans were drafted for a straight localization
have you guys played
of Final
Mystic
Fantasy
Quest
V,
at all?
and it was planned to be called Final Fantasy
I wonder if I should
3,
try it sometime.
so as to
I've never played it
with the previous release.
I know it's got a
even though Square
maybe
had
like
turned
not a
around
huge fan base, but it's got like a
of Final
sort of like
Fantasy
a cult
4
following
in just a few months,
you know,
with Mystic Quest launching around the same time in North America as Final Fantasy V did in Japan. This time, though, there was a feeling that it might be best to wait and see how both were received before making any kind of solid commitment. The poor performance of Mystic Quest then dampened enthusiasm and confounded what Final Fantasy V represented to that market. Even though it was, in many ways, more accessible and easier to play, there was also a sense that Final Fantasy V was way more complicated than the previous game.
Oh, I've heard the soundtrack, yeah, because I've watched other
especially
people play it.
as neither Final Fantasy 2 or 3 had ever been localized.
It was either H.C. Bailey or Nintendo Capri Sun, one of those guys.
System or character evolution in that region. Piano. As such, they wanted to take their time and make the appropriate tweaks. And the initial plan was to launch Final Fantasy V as Final Fantasy III towards the end of 1993.
But that didn't happen.
Those plans, however, were shelved, as things became even more muddied when Final Fantasy VI came onto the scene. Within Square, there became an appreciation that Final Fantasy II, 3 and 5 were more controller
I don't know if
command-driven games,
these robes
whereas
actually
Final
do
Fantasy
anything.
2,
I'm not gonna
4,
bother
and
with
the
them.
soon-to-be-released 6 were more story-driven games. Even though Final Fantasy 1 had been a considerable success, they felt that North Americans had changed to wanting more
where are the
story-driven
rings here?
experiences, and this was supposedly supported by testing they had
I know
done
there's some
amongst
here,
focus groups.
right?
As Final Fantasy
Where's
V
the-
didn't align
which
with
house
this,
is it?
it left them in limbo as to what to do. Their first thought was that due to how
Or can I
different
not get
5
them
was
now?
from the previous entry, released under the Final Fantasy banner in North America, that it may perform better if it
I
launched
not
as
get
a
rings
completely
now?
different franchise. And for a time, that was the
Did
plan,
I remember
as
this
was
wrong?
reported by EGM based
Hold
on
on
their
a minute.
sources. Then, due to perceived difficulty and the also perceived inability for North Americans to understand role-playing concepts, they considered launching it as Final Fantasy Extreme, as was revealed by Ted Woolsey when speaking to a UK-based publication called Superplay. In the same interview,
Buy from
Woolsey
Phantom
also
Village,
revealed that
East
because of
Story.
the change in
Oh,
naming
I would have had to
convention,
buy them.
they were
Oh,
also
I'm
planning to
screwed
release
now.
Final Fantasy V out of sequence,
I am in
bringing
trouble.
it to market in 1995 after the
Well,
planned localized
this is not
launch
gonna
of
be
Final
good.
Fantasy VI, which was then to be
This is
rebranded
definitely
as
not good.
Final
I
Fantasy III
screwed up, guys.
instead of 5.
I made a big
Their
mistake.
hope was that Final Fantasy VI would post better results than Final Fantasy IV or
Well,
Mystic Quest.
I guess we're gonna
and
have
that
to try this
increased
anyway.
interest may then make it easier to sell this different kind of Final Fantasy game. But
I wonder
upon
if I can
launch,
still salvage
Final
this
Fantasy
somehow.
VI didn't perform well in North America either, and the localization of the Super Nintendo version of Final
thinking-
Fantasy V was outright cancelled as a result. That wasn't the end of their attempts, though.
That wasn't
Final
part of the
Fantasy VII,
plan.
unlike Final Fantasy VI, did resonate with the North American market, and this happened on the PlayStation.
I wonder if I can just
but
like
also
brute
on the
force
PC.
it.
This then led to Square hiring a company called Top Dog to oversee a port of the Super Famicom version for PC. However, it became very difficult for Top Dog to complete the task.
Maybe I can buy some
They had two
shurikens here or
options:
something.
either emulate the home console into a PC application.
Oh, right, I
and hope
can't.
they
There
could
aren't
dump the
any.
contents of the cartridge with no issues, or try to reproduce the game from scratch.
Damn,
They chose the latter as it promised better results. And they had
well,
experience
this will
with
either go
approach.
really great or
But
really
once they
terribly.
committed, they found that most
We'll
of the
find out.
documentation that explained what all the code did was in Japanese, and none of the developers spoke that language. To try and overcome the problem, someone
Oh,
from
wait, I'm
Square's
forgetting something. I
Japanese
need to go
office
visit
flew
Sage
over to
Guido.
Top Dog to try and act as an intermediary.
I'm missing
But
like an
despite
entire
working
step
for 2
here.
months with the team to try and help them overcome these challenges, things only ended up becoming
That's
worse.
right, the Force will not let me
Neither
in
company
right now.
had worked with this kind of arrangement before, and too many assumptions had been made.
Aw,
So
man.
instead of
Well, I
trying
got
to brute
fire, I
force
guess,
their
so
way
there's
through
that.
the project, the decision was made to cancel the agreement between Square and Top Dog. Around the same time, though, Square had managed
That's
to forge
beautiful.
a successful working relationship with Eidos. Eidos had managed to somehow reverse engineer a PC port of Final Fantasy VII, and they took over the project. Eidos, though, encountered the same struggles as Top Dog, and the PC
Okay, I
version of
can't
Final Fantasy
do this
V
yet.
never saw the light of day. But work done by both companies did serve as the basis for the localized PlayStation version that then launched in North America in 1999 before being released in
How do I
Europe
get to Sage
in
Guido from here?
2002.
Oh, it's that center one. I see now. Right, because that's where the islands sink. I'm remembering now.
Even though Final Fantasy V struggled to see an overseas release for many
Doing
years,
this in the wrong
that
order.
did not diminish its impact around the world. It just may not have been apparent to fans at the time. Not long after its release in Japan, for example, the Final Fantasy V soundtrack was released and went on to sell over 135,000 copies, by far the best performance of any kind of music-related merchandise
Yeah, here we
Square
go.
had ever released. The strategy guide was also so successful that it ended up as the 6th best-selling book in Japan in
Wow.
1993.
Imagine
And
a
as if to show
strategy
how much
guide
the gap
selling
between
that
the
well.
franchises had narrowed, the Dragon Quest V strategy guide appeared in the position above. But that wasn't the end of Square's aspirations to market this product, and they introduced a plethora of new merchandising initiatives as a way of trying to satisfy their very expectant
Oh yeah,
audiences.
merchandising.
Perhaps one of the more
where the
novel
real money
creations
from
was
Final
an
Fantasy
extensive
is
line
made.
of collectible cards. Due to the sheer volume of assets created throughout production, the marketing team thought it would be very prudent to try and maximize the return on investment of those assets. After all, Shibuya and Ito had created hundreds of individual in-game sprites. There was a sense that, due to how
What?
many
I thought that
possible
would do more.
combinations there were, players may gain certain affinities with specific character and job combinations, and so they produced an extensive line of cards that featured every single possible character and job combination. This meant players could try and obtain the jobs they used for each character, but for those who were born collectors, they chose to extend it even further, creating cards that featured concept art relating to weapons, equipment, and items, as well as summons and key locales that could be explored throughout the adventure.
Well, that's
in total,
cool.
It meant over 250 cards were produced, with 4 very rare holographic cards also able to obtain, and they were sold in packs of 10 for 200 yen apiece. This was also used as a way of allowing fans to connect with each other, as they were encouraged to trade. Square even hosted in-person events for this exact purpose.
Am I in the right place?
The Final Fantasy V original sound version was released the day after the game on the 7th of
Starting
December,
to doubt myself.
and it was a huge success. But Square were keen to continue the momentum they had seen with Final Fantasy IV, where the OSV was complemented by 2 arrangement albums, one called Celtic Moon and another called Piano Collections. They therefore took a similar approach with Final Fantasy V. The first album released just a month later, on the 21st of January 1993, and it was called Mambo de Chocobo.
Okay, I'm trying to think.
Named after the in-game track, it featured a live studio arrangement of the in-game jazzed-up Chocobo theme that was arranged by Ken Morimura and performed by Senor Uematsu and the Los Mambo Panchos. The album then featured 3 unreleased tracks, one of which was an alternative version of the game's opening, and a Final Fantasy Megamix that was produced by Hidenori Doi, who had also worked on the Final Fantasy IV Minimum album.
I want to hear the Megamix.
Alongside this, Uematsu helped to produce an arrangement album called Dear Friends, where he once again collaborated with international musicians, except this time, instead of heading to Ireland, Uematsu
could you imagine
headed to
Elton John doing Final Fantasy?
He was placed in charge of creating the arranged versions of a core selection of tracks, before then playing the keyboards himself during a live
I went the wrong
recording.
way.
Everyone else, ranging from the vocal performances to the bagpipe player and even the bouzouki player, were all Finnish. The Final Fantasy V piano collections then saw the exact same team reconvene, with Shiro Sato delivering arrangements of 12 tracks before Toshiyuki Mori then performed them. Outside of the physical goods, Square also undertook a holistic approach to building out the lore and universe connected with Final Fantasy V.
I think we gotta do this one then,
where
and
planned
then the
expansion
other one.
into North America through the production of comics failed to bear fruit. With Final Fantasy V, they were much more successful in their attempts to create a lasting legacy that went beyond the game. I was running away from that guy. No, perhaps due to the nature of the game
that wasn't
itself,
the right one.
who was involved with its development, and how it performed on launch, Final Fantasy V ended up holding a special place amongst the series' most influential individuals. It meant, as thoughts turned to the next installment and how it could be promoted, Final Fantasy V returned as perhaps the unorthodox choice. Square had seldom created supplemental content in preparation for a game to launch, with Mystic Quest serving as an odd outlier here. The common approach was to instead produce content that could be consumed at launch or in the months and years after, and this generally came in the form of novels, gamebooks, and manga. But as the release of Final Fantasy VI loomed, the decision was taken to produce an original video animation that, in Japan at least, was to be simply called Final Fantasy. However, despite the ambiguous name, it was planned to serve
You would think I would remember how to
Final
do this
Fantasy
after playing
V,
this game
set
so many times,
years
right?
in the future and focusing on the story of Pretz
No,
and
of course
Linelli,
not.
the latter of whom was a descendant of bards. Square commissioned NTT Publishing to publish the short
Final
series
Fantasy
with Madhouse, who had gained significant renown for their work on things like Record of Lodoss War, amongst other TV shows and movies.
That's a great anime.
On the actual production.
How could Final Fantasy go wrong with that,
who had
right?
worked as a film and TV composer since the late 1960s, was then hired to compose the soundtrack. And alongside creating original pieces, Sato was tasked with translating Uematsu's thematic elements into this new medium. In Japan, the first of 4 30-minute episodes was released on the 21st of March, just a few weeks before the launch of Final Fantasy VI. But fans had to wait until late May until the release of the second episode. After this, the subsequent episodes were launched on a monthly cadence.
Fighting this guy.
Later that year, a 2-part manga adaptation of the OVA was then released. But perhaps the most interesting aspect of the animated production, however, was that it was localized, and the first 2 episodes of what was rebranded to Final Fantasy Legend of the Crystals were released right at the end of 1997. With the PC port of Final Fantasy V also in development around that time, there must have been a hope that they could dovetail with that. But even though the PC port was cancelled, it didn't matter, as Final Fantasy as a brand was in the ascendancy thanks to the huge success of Final Fantasy VII, which had launched just a few months prior to the release of Legend of the Crystal. This notion was then amplified further following the release of Final Fantasy Tactics at the start of 1998, with episodes 3 and 4 of Legend of the Crystals launching just a few weeks after Tactics. In Japan, Final Fantasy V was then re-released on the PlayStation around the same time, as part of their initiative to re-release older games on modern systems so that new audiences could experience them. Final Fantasy IV was the first to be given this treatment, with the work conducted by Prezi. They were then commissioned to work on a similar port of Final Fantasy V, and it brought with it some modest changes. Perhaps the most notable was the addition of brand new FMV sequences that appeared at the beginning and end of the game. But it also featured some cameos from Cloud and Sephiroth during loading sequences owing to their newfound fame, and the memo save feature was added, which allowed players to quick save their progress in a temporary file instead of using a traditional memory
I love the
card.
little chibi Cloud
This
and
was the version
Sephiroth.
that was then released in North America the following year, with Europeans having to wait until 2002, which was almost 4 years after it had been released in Japan. The localized version retained the FMV sequences and memo save, but there were numerous adjustments to the script in terms of what characters were called and how they spoke. The most notable example was Butts being renamed to Barts, but the localization team also decided to give Faris a dubious pirate accent that was not in the original game, perhaps due to the classic Western interpretation of pirates. Those who had imported the Japanese version were quite disgruntled by these changes, but they were further disgruntled by how much the port had suffered from the change in format. Due to using CDs instead of ROM cartridges, load times had increased considerably, and this was most notable when transitioning
so that's what you
into
experienced, wasn't it, Haxon?
Toze were, however, given a second bite of the cherry, as they were commissioned to work on another version of Final Fantasy V, this time for the Game Boy Advance. Square had been looking for a way to make Final Fantasy V available on handheld devices for some time, but they had encountered difficulties when working on the version of Final Fantasy III, as the Wonderswan color was not considered powerful enough. Sakaguchi believed the Game Boy Advance was a more suitable system, but Square had to wait until relations with Nintendo had softened before that dream could become a reality. After they did, it didn't take long until Final Fantasy Advance was given the green light. Unlike
that's
the
what we're
PlayStation
playing
version,
now,
which was very faithful to the original game, Final Fantasy V Advance came with a whole host of changes. Much as had been the case with Final Fantasy IV Advance, Final Fantasy V Advance featured improved graphics in the form of spruced up background assets, new portraits for important characters, and tweaked sprites. But it also featured a modified soundtrack that was optimized for the Game Boy Advance sound chip, and the load time issues from the PlayStation version were resolved. The new FMV sequences, however, were removed, as were the Final Fantasy VII cameos, and the multiplayer option that was present in the previous two versions no longer made sense. But this version also featured plenty of new content. The original game came with an extensive collection of jobs, and for the re-release, 4 more were created to help add an extra dimension and keep it feeling fresh for veterans. The 4 jobs were Necromancer, Cannoneer, Gladiator, and Oracle, and outside of the Gladiator, which had appeared a few years prior as part of Tactics Advance, these were all brand new jobs to the franchise. They could only be acquired in the brand new dungeon too that could be accessed upon finishing the game. This was called the Sealed Temple, and it was an underwater dungeon found south of the Phantom Village that could only be entered after obtaining the tablets and the 12 legendary weapons. It was also a very lengthy dungeon, and it featured devilish super bosses such as the Archaeo Demon, Omega Mark II, and Neo Shinryu. But should progress be made, 4 crystal shards could be found. Each one could then be used to access one of the new jobs. But the Necromancer job had an extra step, as Inuo also needed to be defeated, and that was no easy task. Outside of this, Final Fantasy V Advance also added a bestiary, challenging players to try and defeat every enemy in the game, as well as a music player and quick save functionality.
I think I have to go back the way I came.
A new English localization was commissioned. This kept Bart's as the official name, but improved other aspects of the script, such as the way Faris spoke. Around the time that Final Fantasy V
Power and internet
Advance
flicking on off through the storm. Oh, don't put yourself in danger for my sake, Shane. Also, hello, how are you?
Due to there being so many full starts,
didn't even know you were here.
Final Fantasy III on first, the Wonderswan color, and then the Game Boy Advance.
But it's good to see you.
They decided to instead just create a full-on 3D remake for
We're
the
listening
Nintendo
to a
DS.
documentary about the
Upon
making
launch,
of
this new
FF5.
version of Final Fantasy III
It's interesting.
proved that there was demand for a 3D remake of an older Final Fantasy. And due to how well it had done, production of a remake of Final Fantasy IV then started with immediate haste. Fans then assumed that Final Fantasy V was to be the next game to receive such
Mr.
treatment.
Gamer, thank you so much for the raid.
Figures that Square Enix
Welcome
and
on
Matrix
in.
Software reconvened, they had a
How are
rather
you today, my
different
friend?
idea.
Was it Mega
Having
Man
worked
Monday
on two
today?
remakes of older games, Tomoya Asano and Takashi
man.
Tokita decided they did not want to work on another one. They instead wanted to create an
I've run
original
away from
Final Fantasy.
so many
And as
battles
Matrix Software
today.
were a close partner to them, they
Of
were the
course.
outsourcing team they
Welcome
chose
on
to
in,
fulfill
friends.
this desire. Square Enix, though, were still keen to make a
I
Final
wonder
Fantasy
if I
V
can
remake
win
and
the
attempted
crystal
to find
fight
another
with all
outsourcing
reflect
partner.
rings. Would
However,
that actually
this never
work?
went too far, as according to
'Cause I don't
Shinji
have
Miyamoto,
flame
they
rings.
encountered technical issues.
I don't know how the
Hashimoto
hell I'm
then
going to
suggested
do
that
this.
Square Enix were going to skip the Nintendo DS
Rockman
and
5
instead
Blues
produce the
No
remake
Wanna.
for the Nintendo 3DS.
Blues
but after
No-
the
No
statement,
Wanna what?
the project was quietly cancelled. Many years later, though, Final Fantasy V was
No,
somewhat
seriously,
remade,
how... Okay,
just
so
not quite in the
Curious
format
Me
people
wants
were
to know...
expecting. Matrix Software
What's
were
different
given
about
the task of
the
fulfilling
Japanese
project,
version of
as they were presumably now available
of,
again. But instead of
Final-
following suit with the remakes of
Mega
Final
Man
Fantasy
5. I
3
forgot
and 4,
what
they
you were
instead
playing.
chose to
I was like, wait, I'm
reproduce
playing
a
Final
new 2D
Fantasy
version
5.
of the game that was adapted from Final Fantasy Advance, releasing on smartphones.
Blues No
before
Wanna
then being
Take a
ported
Bath?
to Steam. What they ended up going to market with was one of the most comprehensive versions of the game ever released,
Blues
with
No
a
Wanna
considerable
Go
list
Get
of changes
Ice
being
Cream.
made by the developers, for better and for worse. Due to being
How you
based
doing,
on the
Super
advanced
Mutant? Good
version,
to have you with
it
us
featured the
as
same
well.
localized script
Welcome
and all
on
the
in,
bonus
everyone.
content.
For those who don't
But
know
instead
me,
of
my
keeping
name
the
is
rest of the
Area Bay.
experience quite similar,
I'm a
the decision
green
was made to
metallic
make some
B
modifications.
VTuber.
This meant that instead of
And,
adopting crisp
I like
2D visuals seen in the
RPGs,
PlayStation
retro
portable
games,
versions of Final Fantasy 1,
sometimes
2,
both
and
at the
4,
same time.
Square Enix chose to instead mimic the
Action
visuals
games,
seen in Final
anything
Fantasy
with a good
Dimensions.
story.
This saw new sprites designed by Shibuya,
And
but
today
the
we're
change in
doing the
graphical
4-job
style
fiesta.
ended up being somewhat controversial.
I
Many
got
felt it led to a
kinda
disconnect
shafted
between
this
the characters
time
and
with
the world
the
around
classes,
them, as they
but,
looked far too detailed
you know,
in
we'll make
comparison.
do.
The backgrounds ended up looking odd due to the poor texture placement.
Oh, the PS1 version. So
Wasn't
that
all
one
bad,
has
though,
like
as new sprites were created for enemies
enhanced
and
music and the
various
helper
animations
stuff,
present
right?
in
Yeah, the
battle.
Navi mode.
And they were of a much
I
higher
remember
standard
that.
and more in keeping with what was
I remember that
expected.
because I had the GameCube
Another big
collection,
change
which
came
has
with
like a lot
gameplay.
of the same
This
content.
aspect
It's all
had
like
never really
packed
been
together.
touched before.
So
but for
yeah,
this
that's
iteration, numerous
cool.
tweaks were made to almost every single area. Jobs
Are there,
and their
like,
respective skills were adjusted.
cutscenes
changes
and
were made
everything,
to
too?
numerous pieces of equipment.
Like little anime
Examples being that
sequences?
monks could now use kick from the back row
kinda
without having
curious
its
about
damage
that.
affected, and the defender knight sword could no longer be used to cast protect. Quality of life
Mega Man has a
adjustments were also
strong
made to the
anime
ATB
background.
system, with Berserk
No,
and
no
Confused
anime?
no
Oh.
longer resetting a character's ATB bar.
I
and
guess if
status
you want
effects
anime,
such as
you have to
haste
go
and
with,
slow, now
Mega Man
visually
8.
impacting the speed at which the bar filled.
I've been
Bosses
having the itch
also
to
saw
play
their
Mega Man
movesets
again.
tweaked,
Wait,
and
which way am I
resistances
going?
became more pronounced.
Yeah, I want to leave.
But alongside these changes
I don't wanna be
came
in here
other,
anymore.
more modern enhancements. Autosave and cloud saving
Alright,
were
we're
added to
going
some
to
versions, as were
more-
achievements. And the developers added the ability for
Forces
players to
more, I
walk in
should
8
say.
directions as opposed to 4. Some years later,
Yeah,
Square Enix
I
then
played
decided
the-
to
I
refresh
played
the
the
2D iteration of Final
PS1
Fantasy V
version of
when it
Mega
was
Man
released as part of
X3,
the
and it
Pixel
feels
Remaster
weird to me because I'm
collection.
used to
And
the
as part
SNES
of this,
version.
they discontinued the mobile and Steam
thinking to
iteration,
myself,
removing it
man,
from stores completely.
It might just be
This
me,
new
but I
version
feel like
then
the
served
music
as
is
an
better in the
amalgamation of
SNES
the original
version.
Japanese Super Famicom version release,
Personal
combined
preference,
with
I
certain
guess.
aspects of the advanced release and the now discontinued Steam and mobile versions.
I want to
Perhaps the
play
area
a
where this
bunch
was
of
most noticeable
Mega Man
was
games
with the graphics,
soon.
as they were updated sprites,
When I get back from
new
my
animations, and
vacations-
key NPC overworld sprites
Well, it's really
were closely
one
aligned
vacation.
to Amano's original artwork. This version also
When I get
addressed
back
numerous
to,
bugs
like,
and glitches,
regular streaming
especially with
in
regards to the battle
July.
scene. For example, weapons could no longer
We're definitely
inflict
gonna be doing
status
some
effects
Mega
if they
Man.
missed,
I'll tell you
and
that.
level 2 old no longer bypassed
Either
all
Mega Man
immunity.
Classic or
Balances
Mega Man
to several
X.
enemies, spells, and status
Probably
effects were also
both.
applied.
And then at some
The only
point, I have
downside,
to do
though,
my
was
annual
that as per the
playthroughs.
wider
Samuel
directive of the
Jackson-like
Pixel
anime.
remasters,
Yes, I
the
do.
optional content
Hentai too.
introduced was almost all removed.
5 months
This meant
with
there were
the
no
mage
extra
bee.
jobs.
Thank you for
and
the 5
certainly
months,
no
Yoko.
bonus dungeons.
Here's
or
to
super
many
bosses.
more, hopefully.
Nonetheless, when looking at the games that stayed exclusive to Japan for the
What
longest,
was I saying?
during the 8-bit
I have
and
an annual
16-bit era,
playthrough of the Mega
Final
Man
Fantasy
Legends
V
series
had
that
a
I do
much
every year.
stronger
Mega
enduring
Man
legacy.
Legends 1 and 2.
For many, it felt like the game
I
where
do that that
everything
every
Square
year
had
at
attempted
a
to
certain
accomplish
time.
from Final Fantasy 1 through 4
We're almost
came
due for that,
together
I
in
think.
the perfect package. It delivered the right amount
And
of
if I feel like it,
complexity
I'll do
while still being
Tron
very
Bonsu, although
accessible, and it
I'm not
featured an
into that
incredible
one as
story,
much,
despite
but
focusing
if people
on a
want it,
smaller
I'll do
cast
it.
of characters. It meant that even though Kazuhiko Torishima, the famed editor who
Okay,
oversaw
here
Weekly
comes
Shonen Jump, had been
pain,
impressed by the changing
potentially.
direction Sakaguchi had
Let's do
taken
it.
with his team on Final Fantasy IV, it was Final Fantasy V that made Torishima truly sit up and take notice. And this had a huge impact on how the franchise was perceived moving forward within the Japanese media. Final Fantasy V also internally shone the spotlight on its
The Force
creators
is letting us
perhaps more
in.
than any previous game, with production getting much more serious.
Gala jelly.
It meant
Ew,
certain
not a fan of
individuals
these
were able
guys.
to use their performances throughout development to create a platform
Got a back
for
attack
themselves.
too? Ew.
But there were also
No,
big
let's just
changes
run from
happening
that
at the
one.
company, and Sakaguchi was asked to move into a very different role. This change then had a huge influence on the next iteration of the Final Fantasy franchise, as it opened the door for some of Square's
Honestly, we should
brightest
just
minds
cast
to
spell
stake a
on these
claim to the
guys.
franchise, as they vowed to make it their own,
Osmos? No,
opposed
that's
to
not
wanting
cool.
to go off and create their
Burn
own
in
properties,
hell.
like many of their predecessors had chosen to do. It paved the way for Final Fantasy to head in a bold, new direction. And based on what happened, the individuals put in charge were only too happy to oblige.
What about, like,
Thank you
Thunderga?
all so much for watching, everyone. My name is Daryl, and this has been the complete history of Final Fantasy
Okay,
V.
those things just absorb
Hopefully,
spells.
as you watched
Don't
through the
use
video,
spells on
you
them.
found some interesting nuggets of information that perhaps you didn't know
Nuggets.
before. If you did, then please consider showing us how much
Chicken
you
nuggets.
appreciate the effort that's put into researching, writing, and editing a video like this by giving it a like. Any interactions you make really do help the
Wait,
channel
did I
out.
not put
So
on
if
the
you
air
genuinely
knife?
like this kind of content, please
Whatever, it's
let
not
us
like it
know by
matters
how
right
you
now.
interact with it. We are also truly grateful for the support we receive on Patreon. Many of you know that creative efforts like this are a labor of love, and Patreon helps to give us security by giving us a consistent income
not gonna
without
bother with
having
this
to worry
one.
about the risks we're taking. We're eternally grateful for the likes of Benjamin Snow, CloudClone28, the livestream, and Zukin TDK.
Holy
the super
cow, look
special
at all
Onion
those
Knights,
patrons.
as they exemplify the notion of wanting to support the channel. But we're incredibly grateful to all of you who choose to support us on Patreon, because without your kind support, this channel will be very hard to maintain. You can fund the channel
Well,
for as
that's
little
lovely.
as $3 per month, and this gets you access to perks such as
Wow,
videos
he's really
early,
selling
free
it.
from advertising, audio-only versions.
No,
of our
that's
super
cool, though.
long-form
No shade or
content,
anything.
and
I
voting
think
rights
that's
to help
great.
us determine what our next major project is going to be.
What is
Alright,
this
everyone, with
channel?
that,
I've never...
This is Daryl signing out. I'll see you all again soon for more Final Fantasy goodness.
Love it. Okay, that is called Final Fantasy Union. Wow, Union? Gotta support that then. I'm gonna sub to them. Okay, let me get back to the game scene here. That was pretty neat. What'd you think of that documentary? Pretty fascinating stuff, huh? Ooh, I got MP plus 30% and a free wizard's hat. I put on my robe and wizard's hat. 4,900 gil. Ew. I'm not a big fan of this encounter. If the, Gala jellies were not there, I'd probably want to do this, but no. Can you please not kill me? Thank you. Jeez, I gotta burn another high potion here. Alright. Luckily this place is not that long. It's kind of painful though. Okay, this is a better one. Ugh, if I was gonna drop anything with Fit Job, it would be Geomancer. Not a fan of Geomancer. Ouch. Hey D20, how you doing today? I'm in the forest of Mwah, trying to stop X-Death from taking over the world. How are you today? Ew, no, can we smoke out of this one? Hope you are melting like me. No, quite the opposite. I was telling everyone earlier that my office was super cold today. Oh god, let's not do this one. They were like blasting the AC and I was shivering, even though I was wearing like a long sleeve shirt. It's pretty crazy. But, things are better now that I'm home. It's supposed to get really hot on Thursday, I think, like 87 or something. It's pretty high. I am definitely not fighting this one. Stop putting gaja jellies in there, and then maybe I'll think about it. Can achieve something with some ice cubes in the bathroom running water? Yeah, I'm sure you could. Is there a treasure here? I don't actually remember if there is or not. Confuse. Oh no. No. Get set on fire. What? You're supposed to die when I do that. Okay, one of you died. Geez, not too accurate with those shuriken, are we? Oh, man. Alright, there's a treasure here. I don't remember where all the treasures are. Oh, and there's a hole there. We gotta go in the hole. Nope. Not that one. Go in this one. Grab this over here. Cottage. Nice. This is the first Final Fantasy you finished? Oh, really? That's something special then. Would this guy be weak to Blizzaga, maybe? Possibly? I'm gonna try it. FF3, which is 6. Yeah, because we didn't use the same numerical scheme that they did. I ought to replay FF6. Ooh, another Dragon Fang. Hey, I never sold those, did I? Goliath Tonic. I don't have much use for that. I think that field over there is a save point, if I'm not mistaken. Ooh, that did good damage. Nice. Another Dragon Fang. Okay. Let's use a cottage, and we're gonna take a quick break. And we'll come back to this, alright? See y'all in a bit. Yeah, I think a lot of Japanese games that have like class and skill systems kind of owe their origins to Final Fantasy V, Final Fantasy III, and stuff like that. You know? It's like I was saying earlier, we wouldn't have Bravely Default if it was not for those games. No, that's cool. I mean, we all have our bread and butter game that we're into. I'm not sure what mine is. It's usually an RPG.
Whoa, Mondo cool.
Whoa, it's Mondo
That's
cool.
right, boys. Mondo cool.
I always thought it would just this one kind of suffered because it was sandwiched between the more well-known 4 and 6. It's that and you know, a lot of people just didn't grow up with it, so they didn't know what FF5 was like. And I keep telling people, play Final Fantasy V. It's fantastic. If you love games where you can you have total control over your character builds, you should play this game. Want to hear something strange? Go for it. Tell me on Ares, believe it or not. I aim to play them all at some point. Yeah, me too. The ones that I am missing on are the later ones, like post 10, 12, 13, 15. I already play FF14, so I'm just taking a break from that. Alright, just get a Blue Zaga in there. Boom, baby. No Dragon Fang that time. That stinks. Oh well. That's right, Fire Emblem has classes and class advancements, so I mean, yeah, obviously this isn't the only one, but... I feel like 10 was the peak because after that it was downhill. I don't think so. I think Square Enix got like more radical with its experimentation after 10, getting into MMOs and doing like more variants of like the turn-based stuff. Yeah, playing 12 kind of feels like a movie actually. Like a fantasy Star Wars movie, sort of. So I appreciate it for that. Was I a fan of its systems? Not entirely. Well, the forest is on fire. Oh, that's spreading pretty badly. Oh no, Exodus is saying the forest's on fire. What are we gonna do? We're gonna go over here and we're gonna grab an Aegis shield before we forget to do it. So I think we just wander around a bit until the Moogle opens up a safe way out of here. I think that's how this sequence goes. Oh dear, it's not like we have spells that could put this out or anything. Well, I guess we're trapped here. We're gonna die. Nope, Moogle's here. Come into my Moogle hole. Wait, I phrased that pretty awkwardly. Forget that. Forget I said that, okay? That didn't happen. Anyway, the water looks nice. Yeah, exactly. Nothing happened. We just gotta wait this out until they let us out. Kupo takes a little bit. At some point, he does move. Nothing to see here. Please disperse. Okay, now he's moving. Oh, interestingly, you can come back here if you want to. Get a free heal if you like. Alright, let's continue on. Whoop whoop! Gonna kill these guys. Ow. Sometimes, Mondo, I say things, and then I think about what I said, and I'm like, oh, that sounds weird. Most people think about things before they say them. Not afterwards. You know? Flame tongue, which it's another thing we can't use. It's a flame-based sword. I'm out of here. I'm not fighting these guys. Okay. Just in case and to save on time, I'm going to use the branch up here to... No, we're not doing this one either. We're gonna use the branch to open the way. I was gonna say before I got attacked like 2 times here. What the heck's going on? Yeah. Just so I don't have to keep doing this sequence over and over in case I die, which is probably very likely at this point. This is not the ideal group to take into this battle. Elmao, RNG, yeah. Are you talking about my job selection, or just like the encounter rate here? Yeah, I wouldn't want to sit through this every time. Now, fortunately, we can just leave. Just like that, and so like now there's a little shortcut. We are gonna want to be in peak physical form for this fight. Guys, pray that RNG is good to us. So we're gonna need it. I don't have a strategy for this fight. Other than, like, possibly single targeting and hope that I don't die. Oh wait, it does make you... Oh wait. Oh wait, you just don't have to do the talking, that's all. Well, whatever. Wait, did I save my game? Shit, I don't think I saved my game. I don't think I saved my game, did I? I should save my game. I should absolutely, positively, 100% save my game. God damn it. Oh, I did? Are you sure? I better do it one more time. I think I'd better do it one more time. Okay, now I feel better. You ever do that? You just have to save your game like 2 times because you don't remember if you did it the first time? It's like a compulsion. If you play RPGs long enough and you know you're like about to do a difficult fight, it's a compulsion. It's a hard habit to break. Okay, here goes nothing. Let's hope we don't die here. Here they come. Okay, here's the plan.
Victory or death!
That is the plan.
Victory or death! Victory or death!
Victory or death! What is Gaia gonna do in here? Leaf swirl? Ew. Gross. Hate it. Does Bio do anything here? No, absolutely nothing. Break? Nope. Man. Branch arrow? Okay. I think we just have to keep track of their HP. Is this a weakness? Wow. This actually really sucks. Is it fire? Fire might be it. Okay, I have an idea. I have an idea. Don't know if this is a good idea, but it's an idea. Why can't I... Hold on. I was gonna ask why I can't, switch people. Can we take it out? Can we take it out? Okay, that's one. Whew. Okay. I'm a little scared, in case you, didn't notice. I'm gonna play this really carefully here. Okay. Now, I think we should take out the bottom one. I'm gonna have to single target this one. Okay, so I'm gonna wait a bit for my ATB bars to fill. Right? And then, wait, why can't I throw a shuriken? Oh, wait a minute. It's because I'm not on the throw command. I'm stupid. Not that one. Kill it. Kill it, kill it, kill it. Phew, okay, that's working. We're still alive. Somehow. I know, God. I better hope that fifth job is a good one. Alright, I'm healing this turn. Shit. I hate when they do that. I'm not taking my chances. I cannot afford to have Ferris die here. Mm-mm. Not okay. Okay, here we go. We're gonna wait a bit. I'm gonna do Fire-Aga, and I don't know what to do about the last one. The last one is the fire one. Okay, Shuriken. Oh, that wasn't enough! Oh, shit. Shit, hurry up and throw. Throw. Don't hold back, just throw. We can always get more shurikens, don't even worry about it. Alright, now we heal. Alright, how do we deal with this one? We have to use a different element, right? Yeah, this turn we heal everyone. That's why I bought all those high potions. Critical attack? You're gonna have to do better than that. Okay, do we try, Blizzaga then? No, it doesn't work. Shit. Oh, maybe Branch Spear is the way to go. Damn, what do I do? Is it, Thundaga? No. Might have to be Galuf and Ferris doing this one. I think we might have it, though. Oh, no. Drain? That doesn't work. Okay, that seems to be just, like, random damage. Come on, Ferris, get your turn. Get your turn. No, shit. None of these are gonna work. They don't work because, it's not organic. I mean, ah, fuck. Attack! Oh god, we barely made it. Oof. Oof. Wait, Galuf is gonna be dead going into the X-Death fight. How does that even work? Jesus Christ. Don't do that. Yippee! Don't do that. Don't do...
Victory!
I just barely made it. Such efficient work, as if anything less could be expected that bears the crystal's power. Well done, you destroyed the seals. I suppose I should thank you for saving me the trouble. Oh. It's the man himself. How you doing, Gravity? How ironic. The seal is broken by the power of the four warriors meant to protect them. What? They were crystals. Yeah,
I have not seen such bravery.
What do you think we were
That
fighting?
was an heroic effort.
I know, God, it was real clutch there. The crystals which bound me for so long, now their power is mine. Bow down before my crystals and my power. Oh no, he's so evil. Who can stop him now? Superman, maybe? Yeah, I think Superman can beat up X-Death. My heart is pounding. Something must have happened to Grandpa. Kupo, what? They're in the force some more? Come on, let's go. I honestly thought that fight was going to be a lot more painful. I guess I'm at a point where I'm experienced enough to know what to do, sort of. Time for your viscera to see the light of day. Now die. Oh yeah, I should mention one card that I wanted from the Final Fantasy Magic set was the X-Death card. Just because it's X-Death. Not because it's like the best card or anything, it's just, you know, X-Death. Grandpa, oh Yoko, Lena, Ferris. Crowd comes to save the day. Cryle, X-Death. Don't worry, he shouldn't be doing anything for a while. Oh. Impudent little fool. Oh yeah. I especially like her appearance in FF14. Hey, what are you? Die. Oh no, he's got a magical hula hoop around her. And now he's playing pinball. Grandpa! Cryle. Alright, here we go. Most awesome part of the game right here. So certain you want to keep moving, Galuf. Try to dispel this power and your precious crystals will shatter. Cryle. He don't care. He's gotta save his granddaughter. Okay, I'm not sure how exactly he does this, but he absorbs the power into himself. X-Death! And he becomes like Super Galuf, I guess? Oh man, with the costume and everything. You can't beat me, I'm Santa Claus. Oh! The cape. We're at 0 HP, by the way. Just wanted to point that out. That's right, nothing can kill me. I have the power of nature and anime on my side. It's a Christmas miracle. It's gotta be, right? What I like about X-Death, I love that they're a corny Saturday morning cartoon in an armor suit. I love how one-dimensional he is. That's what I love about X-Death. He's very single-minded. I'm not trying to say like he's the greatest Final Fantasy villain. I just love him for what he is. You know? I think Final Fantasy has better villains with more complex motivations, like Kuja, and especially Kefka and Sephiroth. You know, the writing got better over time. You know, the writing is not this game's strong suit. That's not why people play this game. It's because the job system is really fun to play with. And it is. But the more, every time I play this game, every year for the Fiesta, the more I appreciate it. I never get tired of playing FF5. Graviga, well that doesn't do anything, my HP is at 0, nerd. Vacuum wave, okay, now he's pulling out the big guns. Now I'll show you my true power. Prepare yourself for the afterlife. Okay, here comes the big spells. Flare. Holy. Ow. Meteor. Oh, God. Just everything. Pew, 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 pew. Still not dead yet. Why? Why won't you die? It takes a lot more than that for me to kick the bucket. I'll destroy you, X-Death, even if it means I have to take you into the afterlife myself. There we go. Fool! All the hatred in existence will never be enough to defeat me. Ow. Ooh, crit. This isn't anger, it's in hatred. It's... Well, what is it? You missed. Good job. Then, what? Whoa, good job, Galuf. You beat the game. Alright. That's it, we won. He's dead. Saw his body explode in the battle. Oh, wait, no, what's happening? What? That's cheating. You can't do that. Hey, I call foul. His body exploded in the battle. That means we win. He has to leave us alone. Oh, right. I should roll for my 5th job. Please pray for me. Chat, I'm going to need all your power and energy. Please raise your hands. Do some kind of symbolic gesture. I don't know. Use an emote if you have to. Please pray for me that RNG will be good. Okay, here we go. We're going to do this. Alright, 4jobfiesta.com. I haven't rolled for a 5th job yet, so hopefully this will be okay. Come on, give me something good. Unlock 5th job. What's it gonna be? Oh, whoa, that's an interesting choice. Not what I expected. Okay, so we are going to Mystic Knight. Mystic Knight. Okay, well, that's interesting. I wonder how that's gonna work with the towers. I don't know how that's gonna work, actually. Do I replace Geomancer with Mystic Knight, I guess? Break Sword is broken. Yes, it is. Grandpa, Galuf. Grandpa! Hey, guess what? I can use swords and armor. That's great. Galuf, hold on, we can... It'd be so funny if I got Berserker. Galuf, don't talk like that. Galuf, get up, you old back. Quit playing around. This isn't funny. Wake up, please. Yoko, Lena, Ferris, my dear Kryl. X-Death, destroy him. Grandpa, no, you can't die, you can't. Galuf, Kiraga. Please raise. Open your eyes, Phoenix down, elixir, anything. Hey, quit wasting our items. Nope, he's blinking, that means he's dead. Very dead. Galuf's flame has flickered out. They also made a magic card based on this whole scene here. Let me see if I can find it. Galuf's final act. Yeah, that's in the recent set too. I'd love to have that card. Here, check this one out. Really like this card. I think I ended up getting that one in my pre-release. Don't know how much use it's gonna get though. I'm sorry, Kryl. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was in control here. We can't leave. Help! I'm trapped in a tree. I can't get out. Oh yeah, she's not technically in the party yet. Hey, wait a minute. I have ninja. So... What am I fighting for? Hold on. How does ninja work with the spell sword, then? With dual wield? Can you, like, dual wield spell sword? Is that a thing? That's a thing you can do, right? Gotta think about that one. Grandpa. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, you could do, like, dual wield spell sword daggers, right? How does that work with a chicken knife, though? Dual wield in the chicken knife. Does the chicken knife proc in the offhand? It doesn't, right? Does it? I'm not too sure about that. Well, we have inherited his powers, and I think his equipment too, hopefully. Now I have to get, like, Mystic Knight kind of stuff. Let's see, what is Mystic Knight able to use? I think it's just, like, what, swords, daggers, that kind of thing? Right? Can they use knight swords? I don't remember. Because there's, like, swords, and then there's swords that only knights can use. But that might just be for the knight class. I don't think Mystic Knight counts for that, though. Well, with Mystic Knight, we can do some serious damage to X-Death, I think. Alright, in that case, let's go do more. And we'll get ourselves re-equipped. Well, first of all, Freelancer. Wait, what? What happened to the... Oh, there's the Elven Mantle. Blood Sword. Wait a minute, how does the Blood Sword work with Magic Sword? I don't actually know. Oh, then I've got Wind Slash too. Wait. Oh, wait a minute, what am I doing? I gotta turn it into Mystic Knight first. I'm doing this out of order. Mystic Knight. Then I can see what I can use. So from here on, I cannot use these abilities. The Geomancer ones I'm not allowed to. I can still use the Black Mage one. So that'll have to do for now. Air Knife probably isn't gonna do a lot for me. Ancient Sword might be interesting. Well, I know the Aegis Shield is gonna be good, so we'll do that. You can actually be in front now. Mystic Knight with Patience and Luck makes Omega possible. I wasn't even considering that, but that could be interesting too. Anyway, how you doing, Eric? Good to see you. I don't need a Diamond Shield. Aegis Shield is probably the best thing I'm gonna get. I might want this Diamond Helm. Is this all worse than what I'm using? Resistant to lightning. Wait, what is she using? Oh, bone mail. Well... I still might want the regular armor. Yeah, because there are times when I'm not going to want a bone mail. Silver specs. Okay, so does everyone else have an Elven Mantle on? Why don't you have an Elven Mantle on? You can have that too. Yeah, I mean, that looks good to me. Might want a few more Phoenix Downs for Excess Castle, though. I don't think we're gonna have time to do it today. It's already 10:36. Hey, you know what, though? It turned out to be a lot less grinding than I thought it would be, and that, I would say, is victory. I'm gonna want more Phoenix Downs, I think. I don't have much in the way of healing. That's the issue. I'll go up to 50. I'm not worried about spending Gil, because, like, I want more of these, too. We can always get Gil. Gil's not an issue in this game. Especially now. I think that's gonna be it for today, actually. We made a lot of good progress. I'm very happy with the outcome. So, I'm gonna leave it here for tonight. I'll be back on tomorrow with, Doom 2016, since I said I would do more of that. And that's gonna be it for streams for this week. Can't really stream very much this week, so just how it is. Let's go raid someone. I am going to pick... Who am I going to pick? No, I thought Zophar would be on, but I guess he's not. Oh wait, no, he is on. He is on. He's doing Revenge of Shinobi. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's go watch Zophar play Revenge of Shinobi. Alright, boys and girls, I am out. I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one.